Go Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Well, finally, the link went out for Crown Royal today.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were going to say, finally, they clinched. And Steve was worrying about nothing.
Finally, they clenched.
Clenched.
I clenched at the end of the game.
Oh, my
I just
God,
want to
so
quickly
did I.
say April 5th, we are going to have that event. You will
6th.
get... 6th. That's correct. The date has not changed. It is April 6th. You will get they will be reaching out to you if you've entered your information. It was the first 50 people. And we're hoping maybe we can expand that, but there's no guarantees or promises on that one. So for now, it is the first 50 people. Thank you so much for all those who signed up. And don't worry, if you couldn't be at this one, this is the thing with Crown Royal. We're going to do more stuff.
Yes.
And we've got a whole bunch of ideas. And they've got a whole bunch of ideas. And I think that it's going to be a fun and exciting summer.
Absolutely.
That's all
Well,
I
and
will
have
say.
I mentioned I have a book?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can meet Steve.
I want to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing lots of stuff and things.
What's your next tour?
It is tomorrow in Oshawa at
Oh, that'll be hard.
I think 7. Let me check.
Hometown?
Hometown.
Hometown one? That's fun.
Yes. And we can't add any dates until the playoff schedule is released.
Yeah, of course.
And then once it is released, I'm hoping to do a bunch more GTA dates. And then once the Leafs either get eliminated or win the cup, then we can look elsewhere.
So it was Oshawa? Where at?
Oshawa at 7, get there early.
Okay.
Get there early because all 4 signings have exceeded my expectations.
And they do,
They've been nuts.
like, it gets to the point where they're like, the mall will close.
Well, yeah, okay, so Eden Center, I arrive, should I just go through them all?
Sure, if you want. I mean,
I'm happy to.
is it going to be exciting and scintillating, Steve?
I hope so.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll
right.
see what Iceberg brings to the show
Well,
today.
I just finished up my taxes, so my eyes are rolling in the back of my head. I could use anything right now, any
Awesome.
stimulation.
Okay, so Eaton Center, last week in Toronto, it's a 2-story Indigo. I go up the elevator, and there's people lined around the banister, and I couldn't believe it. And they invite me into the back to like do some things for the store and sign some books. And then they're like, you know what? The line is like starting to like interfere with the store. Like it was like winding through the kids section, and it was like a couple hundred people.
Wow.
So I'm like, well, how about I just start now? So I started like 45 minutes early, something like that. So I started at 6:15 for a 7 o'clock signing, and we finished the last signing after the mall had closed at 9:30 at around 9:35.
Wow.
Yes, that was the Eaton Center, and I'm like, well, there's no way Ottawa tops this. I'm fairly certain it did.
Wow.
I think we had more people in Ottawa. That was another one. It was at least 3.5 hours. The drive up was very long, but very fun. The drive back was less fun, just because it was
it
dark
raining?
and scary.
Oh.
No. It gave me good weather. So that
Dark
was
and
nice.
scary.
It's
That's
dark
because
and scary.
Steve is afraid of driving. Has anybody mentioned this?
I am. No, because Ottawa's that first road south out of Ottawa. What is that?
Highway 7?
No, 416?
Okay.
Sounds
right.
California right
can
now. I
look
took
at
the 416. There's no lights. And at every moment, I'm just like, okay, it's wilderness and pitch black. Like, I'm just going to hit a deer, like, at any moment now. Because
416.
that's how my brain works.
416, yeah.
That's how it works. Brian 5 or 6 was there.
Uh-huh.
And that was great because, I don't know, people had to entertain themselves while they were in line and everything. And so he came, and that was nice. That was a welcome distraction.
And he's not entertaining at all.
No! God damn it. No, and I took, when he arrived, I took off my shirt to reveal his shirt. And he's like, take off my shirt! And screaming at me. Really good dude. Someone came to the signing not knowing it was happening at the last minute.
Oh.
And they liked me and Brian, and they were just like, his real name's Ben. What the hell is going on? Like he was just flabbergasted, but I guess there were no books left. So Brian 5 or 6 just gave him his book that he bought.
Oh.
Just gave him the book right out of his hand. Casual Mats was there. Chelsea was there, who's been to every Hockey Night in Cinema and every event ever. Galen was there. Do you remember Galen from
Yes.
the Ottawa event?
So here, when we did our Hockey Night in Cinema in Ottawa, Galen walked up to Steve with a green pepper behind his back, took a bite out of it in front of his face, and then shook his hand, which was hilarious.
And the pepper was wearing a little paper hat, like to look like a sailor.
Oh my God.
So he shows up with a wicker basket full of $40 worth of bell peppers.
Which is a lot of bell peppers.
It's a lot of bell peppers, so he just starts handing them out to everybody in line so they can like give it to me or eat it right in my face, which several people did, or get me to sign it, or one guy signed his and gave it to me. I brought it home, and my wife promptly threw it away. So,
It wasn't going to last long.
no, like what was I going to do with it? It was a funny thing to do. Mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. There were so many people. The next day was Mississauga. Brendan and Chloe from the Seat Filler story, if you've read it, they were at the Eaton Center signing, and they got me to sign the page where I first talk about them, which just happened to be page 69.
Nice.
Yes!
That's pretty nice.
Was very happy about that.
Were they happy about that it was 69?
Yes. Oh my God, yeah. Why wouldn't they be? It's the sex number. You get it? You get it? Anyway, Mississauga, I saw another Ryerson friend that was really cool. Someone drove to Mississauga from Michigan.
Wow.
For that signing. It was
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Somebody from the Mississauga signing, I was doing a live remote with Virgin Radio, and somebody from the Mississauga signing came over to the outlet by Harry Rosen where I was doing mine, and he was like, hey, I was just at Steve's. I met Steve, and I was like, I thought I'd come over and say hi to you. Anyway, I want to wish you the best in your hockey career, dude, because it looks like you could be going to junior.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so pretty sweet. Pretty
fancy.
sweet. We'll see.
Mississauga was when I received my first bottle of Mountain Dew. Someone brought me Mitch Marner's Mountain Dew, and then the next day in St. Catharines, I got another one. In St. Catharines, they literally, they shut down the mall. It was supposed to start at 2. I started signing at 20 after 1 or something. I literally just got out of my car and just walked in and started. They cut the line off at 2:10, which annoyed me because I specifically told them not to do that.
Wait, you started signing at 20 after 1?
Yeah, for a 2 o'clock signing, and they cut the line off at 2:10 because there were over 300 people.
Oh, wow.
Or something like
St.
that.
Catharines?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, St. Catharines
That's
is
cool.
actually, because St. Catharines isn't the biggest city, but there's a lot around it.
Yeah.
And a few people came up from Buffalo and Fort Erie, and
You can come up from Windsor from there if you wanted to.
yeah, I don't really think anyone did. I've been getting so many requests for Windsor, so that is top priority.
Should definitely do Windsor.
For one of the highest priorities, yeah. It's just that's a drive, man. That's
People are willing to make it for you.
exactly
Yeah,
100%.
right.
So I got to do it. Yeah, Michigan, dude.
That Michigan guy's going to be very disappointed.
Lady,
We had,
Oh,
our,
lady.
we had our
There's
last event. Somebody came up
lady.
from New York.
Yes.
We've had people fly up from Florida.
Florida,
Like, it's insane.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas. That's right.
That's right. Just
Well, it's great.
I don't
man.
believe it, dude. It was there at least between the 4 days, something like 12, 13, 1,400 people showed up. How do you process that?
Yeah.
How do you begin to process that? About 18 hours in the car, at least 12 hours actually signing books. It was a insane 4 days. Really, really, really fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I got to tell you, Jesse and I, and I won't speak for Jesse, but, when we saw the videos and stuff like that, man, we're filled with an immense amount of pride. We're so happy for you. It's such a cool thing to see front row.
Thanks,
And
guys.
it's funny because, and I'll be honest with you, in dealing with Crown Royal, those slots filled up in 10 minutes.
I think it was less.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was less, but that was the time frame they gave me.
Yeah.
And they were worried that the server was going to crash. And that's the kind of stuff that it's hard for us to, and I know especially hard for Steve to really kind of wrap our heads around. And so,
Unbelievable.
yeah. And I think it might be a good time to mention that we really appreciate it and that we don't
Yes.
take that for granted. And a lot of people have asked me actually about live events and that sort of thing and about what, why we haven't done many this year. And, without getting into too much detail that's boring, a lot of what we had planned sort of fell through. We had some big ideas that unfortunately, for one reason or another, couldn't happen. And we tried and tried and tried. So
Well, I'll just be straight and say that an event that we had done previously was kiboshed for
Right.
legal
It's not
reasons.
that we didn't want to do live
Yes.
events. It's just that things happened and they couldn't be done.
Yes.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And so we are talking with our sponsors.
Yes. Oh,
and-
Panago's like,
Yeah, Panago is ready to
dying.
go.
They're
Crown
dying.
Royal's ready to go. Maybe we'll combine them on one or two.
Yeah.
We're going to do some stuff this summer. June is going to be a bit of a rough month for me, but beyond that, like we'll get going
obviously.
on this.
I just sent another email today about Vancouver because I want that to be June 22nd.
There you go.
So we'll figure that out.
So we're just so you know, this Crown Royal event isn't going to be the last thing for like 6 months. This is going to be the beginning of multiple things, and I think this summer we'd really like to take advantage of actually getting to, if we can, from time to time, at least get out and try to, get out to even like a Port Perry or an Ottawa or something like get around the province at least. I don't know how far I'm going to be able to go.
Port Perry would be easy.
But it
We
would
do
be
day trips,
Yeah, it'd be awful
yeah.
nice if we could, do a Montreal or do a Winnipeg or you know what I mean.
Podcast of the Tartan?
Would they have us?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I think.
I think the Tartan's too big for us.
I mean,
They are
okay,
quite big.
They don't need us.
We couldn't do it on a Sunday.
No.
Or Wednesday because that's karaoke night. So as long as we don't do it on a
And
I
like
guess
Saturday.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can't really take over Saturday.
So you guys want to do a Tuesday at the Tartan?
I think it's
I think
just,
we can do it.
I think it's just that like you got to remember that while our the amount of people listening is insane. The amount of money in podcasting is not, and budgets are tight, and we're trying to put these things together. And obviously, Steve working with Sportsnet, there was a kibosh on working with a particular events.
Puck Talks.
Puck Talks, yeah. The Puck Talks and Sportsnet are not allowed to work together, so that kind of put the kibosh on that for us. And so we're trying to work it out. Just know that this is just the beginning. That's
Yes.
all I want to say.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think we should say, and we don't say this enough, is thank you. It's fucking amazing. Like I don't know how else to put it.
Literally fucking amazing. Like I have gifts here for you guys. I don't know when to.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
And I left a bunch at home too.
And by the way,
Jesse's not interested. He's grabbing them right now.
If you would like to play hockey with Steve Dangle, Matt Sundin, Jeff O'Neill, and some other Leafs alumni, leovegas.net. Make sure you sign up. It's closing very, very soon. We want to make sure that you're hooked up for next weekend when Steve is on Matt Sundin's wing.
And I'm making sure my back is in good condition.
Yeah.
And I can actually last the whole afternoon.
So you're like, it's like you're like Jake Gardner.
Yes. Yeah, kind of. I was watching him do all those pivots and stuff on the ice. I'm like, his back can't be that bad. I can't do that.
Well, if he can't, comparing myself to a professional athlete is definitely a fair comparison.
That's how it works for sure.
That's the 13th that event goes down?
Is it 12th or 13th?
12th and 13th.
well,
I don't know which day you're actually playing, but I'll
think
go
it's
back
the
to
13th.
Yeah, I think that would be my birthday. Yeah,
Sir,
my
happy birthday to you.
It'll be fun.
24, it's a big year.
It is. 24 is a big year. That's what I hear anyway. So Leafs clinch last night, and by the way, we want to mention that we have Haley Salvian coming on from the Athletic.
Yes.
Later on in the show to talk about the NWHL stuff. We would have led with that today, but we couldn't book her because she's obviously working on that story right now.
Yeah, it was a CWHL story, obviously.
That is- yeah,
and that has now become an NWHL story. And
Which I think the NWHL probably would have wanted. And the NHL is involved in that too.
I have thoughts.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of
Yes.
stuff, and I just have a lot of questions. I don't know the internal politics the way Haley does, and that's why we're bringing her on. It's kind of like what we did with Dan Carcillo. It was like, I don't know how this works, so can you please explain it?
that was fun.
It was.
That was great.
It's a passionate dude.
Having Dan on.
He seems, what was great is that like he put it in a perspective that was human, right? Like, because what we hear from like TSN and Sportsnet and that sort of thing when they talk about the litigation stuff is the likelihood that it will go to court and how much money people will get in the settlement, which is like $22,000 each, and all those sorts of things. Where Dan talks about like what it actually means day to day as a human being. And I like that.
And I wish I asked more about it, but like he talked a lot.
Sure did.
It was hard to get a word in. But the whole thing about like the NHL not even covering a lot of his medical costs was that was shocking to me. To me, that was the biggest revelation in anything he said. That and the education on it.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No, he was great. And that was a nice little surprise. I
Yeah.
walked in and Adam's like, we're having Dan Carcillo on. And I go, what?
Sorry, I should.
didn't know.
It was one of those like last minute. Oh my god, I want to see if we can get him on. So Leafs clinch last night. Tavares gets the winner. Rosen gets his first goal in his 5th NHL game. I believe it was. Has it been? Is it 16 months since his last NHL start?
Oh my goodness.
He started 4 games last season, the first 4, and that was it.
It was so, because I remember his possession numbers from his first 4 games last year were decent, but those are completely negated by the fact that the goals that went in were like entirely his fault. Like he wasn't ready for NHL speed. He just wasn't there. And it was proven even more by him going down to the Marlies last year, and he was not very good for the first few dozen games. Back half of the season, people covering the Marlies started going, oh, wait a sec, this guy's a player. And he was probably the Marlies' best defenseman in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was a star.
That's including Travis Dermott, who was playing banged up the whole time. So he was great. And they're like, all right, let's see if you can continue that this year. Well, he improved on that this year. And he was something like an 0.8 points per game defenseman, improved defensively, improved offensively. And the second they were ready to call him up, injured for several weeks. So Babcock eased him into the lineup in Long Island.
No D-zone starts.
Oh, did he not have a single one?
He had 9 minutes, no D-zone starts.
Oh, wow.
9 minutes, 30 seconds. Yeah. It was. I think I would hope he'll play a lot against Carolina tonight.
Yeah.
Because what's the point?
Well,
dude?
I also think like you've clinched, right? Like just get him the minutes and
rest guys.
Are you really going to bring a guy up to the NHL and you don't think that he can handle himself at least a little in the defensive zone?
Yeah, he's not tired, folks.
Yeah, and I think Babs probably really just wanted to win last night.
100%.
Which I get.
100%. Like we were talking to people during the game and like, oh, if the Leafs go up big, like, do you just yank Matthews from the game? No. Win the damn thing. First of all, beating the Islanders means something now. I don't care what anyone says. It means something to me. I think it means something to most Leaf fans. And the games mean something to Islanders fans. 2, clinch. Get it out of the way. Have it be done with. Because now it's done. Now they don't have to worry about it. They're making the playoffs. They're playing in the playoffs. There's still even an outside chance, although not likely, that they could get home ice against Boston.
Who would the Leafs be playing right now if they had a regular playoff format?
The 1 versus 8?
The 4 versus 5?
Would it be the Islanders?
Would it be the Islanders?
Oh, that'd be a great
Would
series.
be the first round matchup.
Who'd be 4 and who'd be 5?
Leafs would be 4. They have the tiebreak right now because they're game in hand.
Right.
They're both tied at 99 points.
Well, and the Leafs are, I want to say, second either in the NHL or second in the East in regulation wins. They actually have
Leafs,
more than Boston.
Leafs currently sit at 46 row, and Boston has 45. So there you go.
And
That's second in the East, behind Tampa.
and there were so many milestones too, like not just Rosen's first goal. Tavares with his 46th, which is now the most any Leaf center has ever scored in a season. New career high with 87 points. The Leafs set a new franchise record, I think, for road wins with 23. Hell of a game, man.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
And you have a chance to watch my LFR yet?
I haven't.
Dude, it's almost 20 minutes long, and I
Okay,
uploaded it at like 2 in the morning. But that goal is Justin Bourne nailed it so early in the season. John Tavares and Mitch Marner are really on some Sedin magic.
They really are, aren't they? There's something else about those guys that you're like, whoa.
That
okay.
play, like the Islanders were dead before they knew it. Because Mitch Marner, Marner, in order for that play to work, Marner has to trick both Islanders defenders, and Tavares has to know what he's doing at the same time. And it worked. It 100% worked. Marner cuts to the middle, sucks in both defenders' attention. Tavares skates completely just unguarded. And I don't think he got his ideal shot off, is the funny thing, as well as it was placed. I think he would have liked to load up a nice wrister. But Leonard was focused on Marner. He wasn't paying attention.
Right.
Marner sucked in everything, so Tavares gets off this quick snapper, goes in, that's the game winner. So good. So good. Ugh.
Now, when the Islanders did score with 5 minutes left.
Oh, I clenched.
I clenched too. And I stayed up. I was tired today the whole day because I was like, I need to see them clinch the playoff spot.
But all season, it's funny. I feel like it feels like the Leafs have lost more this season, or the season's been bad because there's no more pity point
Right.
in the mind of Leaf fans. Like, it does not matter to me. You win or you lose. That's it. So this game was interesting, though, because it wasn't if they win. It's if they get a single point, they clinch,
Right.
I think. So I'm looking and I'm like, okay, the Islanders could tie it and it'd be fine. But no. Screw that. And I was just so worried. Like, it's not just that the Leafs have been losing lately, it's the heartbreaking manner in which they've been doing it.
Yes.
So Tavares scores a goal
Yeah.
right after he gets a penalty. But it's not just any penalty, it's on Matthew Barzal. I'm like, please just kill it off. Just kill the thing. And they do. Okay. Islanders on their next power play score. All right. Oh, Tavares has a chance to ice it, empty netter. Oh, and they stick check it. Tell me they don't tie it after that. And they didn't. So I slept well last night.
Man, I saw that play and I was like, oh my God, here it comes.
Oh.
Here it comes.
Oh, and I was doing so well at the positive thinking all night.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, because last episode, Jesse, you'll remember this. Remember we had the conversation with Steve.
About how the Leafs won't make the playoffs?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That rational conversation.
Could that have been wasted energy, would you say?
No, because it made Saturday's loss to Ottawa more fun.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's like, oh, they lost to Ottawa. Anything can happen.
And they really did kick Ottawa's ass.
Yeah, they did.
They really did.
Craig Anderson
kick
stood on his
their
head. And you know what?
ass.
Yeah.
Robin Leonard stood on his head last night. He was
He was
incredible.
He was great. That one, it must have been tipped. The Rosen goal,
I don't know how it went in.
it must have been tipped. Or it was just one of those once in a blue moon thing. He doesn't allow those. Not this
normally.
season.
Not normally. Nope.
Put it on. Put it on. You never know. Neither shot was great, or I don't think either shot was ideal. Hey, doesn't matter.
Now, the Leafs sit with 99 points. They've got 3 games left to tie their record from last year in terms of points, 105, which would tie a franchise record, although some people dispute that because people are difficult.
I get it.
No, I totally get it.
There's an extra point.
Still, yeah,
It's weird.
105 points isn't bad. Who cares?
Yeah.
Not a single shootout point.
No. And the Boston Bruins currently sit with 103 points. Now, the Leafs win tonight. The Leafs are within 2 points. However, Boston would have the game in hand, I believe, unless Boston's playing tonight. Is there a slight chance?
There's a slight chance. Dude, Boston's lost 2 straight.
They've had a
think.
rough month.
Yeah, they do play
yeah.
Columbus tonight.
And Columbus is hungry,
Yeah.
right?
Columbus needs to win.
Columbus,
to get
by
in.
the way, 94 points. Thank you for bringing this up, Jesse. 94 points. Carolina, 93 points. So the Leafs and Boston are both playing starving artists tonight because the Montreal Canadiens have 92 points. Each of those teams have played 79 games. It's going to be a tight race to the end for those 3.
Oh, my God.
And I wonder tonight, with Garrett Sparks in, this is going to be a big test for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because, this is your game after an emotional win versus the Islanders. He's not been great on back-to-backs, and the team hasn't been great on back-to-backs, to be
that
honest.
sentence was far too long. He's not been great.
Okay. He's not been great.
Yeah.
So,
Confirmed starter. Sorry, I'm trying to find the lineup from Paul Hendrick there.
Okay.
Because the Leafs could play to win it and go, all right, we want that home ice, or they, and I think they'd be perfectly justified in doing it, could completely hang him out to dry. Matthews, after that stinger,
Yep.
I thought he had a great game.
He did.
He didn't look the slightest bit off or slow after that. One of Andreas Janssen and Jake Muzzin had food poisoning. The other had chills, whatever that means. So neither of them is playing at 100%.
So if you have chills, you're just getting into the sickness, right? You don't get chills at the end of the sickness. You get chills at the beginning.
I have no idea. And food poisoning's no joke. I'm going to go out on a limb. That was Yanni. I don't know. That line, though, was real nice. The Kapanen, Nylander, Matthews line. I really like it. Yeah, Matthews, you'd be totally justified in sitting. Rosen, you'd be justified in riding. Hainsey, you'd be justified in dialing back the minutes. Did I say Muzzin yet?
Yep.
Yeah, Muzzin. Johnson, what's the point?
And it's interesting because in the last few games that the Leafs have lost, they've really outplayed their team. Outplayed the team that they've played. I mean, really have, and especially at 5-on-5, they're not getting a lot of power plays, and they weren't getting the goals or the goaltending for that matter. But
No.
Freddie Anderson playing like Freddie Anderson last night, the Leafs looked like the Leafs.
And they outshot them 38-29. They outshot the Islanders in all 3 periods.
That's big.
Yeah, like it was one of their most complete games of the season, I thought. Their stick checking was magical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised Babcock didn't let Rosen go more, just because I thought he played a fine game.
Sure.
There was one scoring chance, I want to say, in the first period that Rosen was on the ice for. It was the forward's fault.
Right. Yeah.
He partially broke up the play, but not entirely. Islanders had 4 guys to the Leafs 2, or 3 or something. What's he supposed to do about that?
Well, and that was, I mean, it is one of those things you kind of just sit there and think, well, there's nothing that can be done. It happens.
You know who Babcock is lowering the minutes for, though?
Who's that?
Marleau. Played under 11.
Now, what do you think about that? Is that just him resting Marleau, and then he's going to lean heavily on him, or is he using him about what Marleau should be used?
Yes. The correct answer is yes. It is a little bit of both. That line wasn't bad. I wish Leaf fans would get off of Connor Brown's back, because is he playing his best hockey of the season?
He is now.
I think he is.
Yeah.
Nas looked good, except for that stupid penalty, which is
Isn't that basically what comes with Nas looking good?
that's the title of his book. I look good except for that stupid penalty.
I mean, we need Nas to be Nas. He's got to find that line between red mist and completely like not interested. He's got to find that line of I'm a pest.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get pushed around or bullied into retaliating and then getting a penalty.
You can do the face wash, but he did. It was a big giant smack into the face wash.
Yes.
And Clutterbuck went down, man. No, it was dirty. You shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Shouldn't have done that there, Nas.
Now, we do have a viral video that went up yesterday, which is potentially one of the most choreographed things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God.
You know when you have a friend who you think is funny, but nobody else seems to think is that funny, but you swear this guy's hilarious. You just need to get him after a couple beers.
Yeah.
And then you realize that he's actually probably not that funny. You just seem to find him entertaining.
You watch them not be funny right in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's weird. That's what I think is going on here.
They announced the goal. Hey, John, you're a traitor, a liar, a snake, a fake. You should have told us. We would have got picks for you, you phony fake. You suck. You always suck, Tavares. You'll always be a loser. Always. I love you. Always. And you know what I'm saying. You should have told us. You snake, phony fake. I used to love you.
Now, at the end of that, to me, it looked like he was almost in tears. Am I wrong?
No, he was.
Was he?
Yeah.
You think he was crying? I thought he
Yeah.
just had watery eyes.
Maybe he's just a wet-eyed man.
Oh my God. Oh, it's on sports. It's on everything. This man is viral today.
Now, this man is wearing a Tavares jersey in this, by the way.
Yeah, with
So when he says you always sucked, you really liked John Tavares. He
Yes.
really broke your heart.
oh my God, there was a tweet from the Leafs Nation last night. It was teammates with 70-point seasons in 9 years in Long Island. 2. So Tavares had 2 70-point teammates his entire time in Long Island. This year in Toronto, he's had 3. But he's the asshole,
Right.
is what
Right.
they said.
Well, and I'm trying to figure out, there seems to be, okay, Islanders, you won. You won the game where he came back.
Yeah.
You beat
Yeah.
the Leafs handily. And I know that this is not all Islanders fans, and I don't want to paint with the brush. However, it's a lot of them.
Oh,
And
I get it.
I don't get it anymore.
What if you're both right? What if the Islander? No, wait. No,
Okay,
not him.
all right.
No, not him. He's-
Okay.
no, he's
Mr.
wrong.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, yell at him. Go.
Yeah, 3, 2. Now is your chance, Bill. Are you ready to be embarrassed? And
So who are the 2 people who are right here?
okay, so John Tavares was right to leave.
Sure.
For example, let's say McDavid asked for a trade, Oilers were to trade him,
Yeah.
and somehow the Oilers make a bunch of moves and become good. At the moment, would anyone begrudge Connor McDavid for wanting the hell out of Edmonton?
No one. We'll get to that.
Exactly. So last year, I gave the Islanders credit. I go, dude, they're one of the best offensive teams in the league. They got some really good young pieces. Their goalies can't stop a beach ball. So if they figure that out, they should be fine. And this offseason, they lose Calvin DeHaan. Who was their big addition on the back end? I can't even remember. Lucas Spiza? Remember they invited to camp and we're all like, oh my God, they're going to stink. And their big goaltending signing was Robin Leonard.
Who was awful in Buffalo.
And it
Yes!
worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm
Happened to
like,
work out.
So
he was right.
Who's the other person who's right here?
No, here, wait. No, so he was right to leave.
Yeah.
But the Islanders, I don't know if they're right, but they should be happy with how they've done without him.
Now,
There's nothing to be right about.
Yeah, so it's not right. It's maybe the wrong way to word it.
I think there's a clearly wrong party.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe it. Well,
Yeah.
my question is this. For John Tavares,
Yeah.
who, from all reports, was going to re-sign with the Islanders until his agent said, hey, maybe just hear the pitches from the other teams.
And that was in the Elliot Friedman report, where
Yes.
he broke down everything that happened and how Toronto amazed him when they brought out Mitchie on the ice and
That's
they filmed
right.
the video and all that, and it convinced him to come.
I want to watch that
Beyond
video
that.
He
so
didn't
bad.
know he was going to leave.
Beyond
I
that,
wanna see
the
that video.
Islanders were 4 points out of a playoff spot last year.
They weren't even far.
So if Tavares goes to Garth Snow and says, Garth, before the trade deadline, by the way, where Garth Snow was apparently going to move mountains, which he didn't. He got Nathan Beaulieu for a 4th-round pick. I believe that was it.
No. Oh, God. What? Brandon Davidson?
Oh, it was Brandon Davidson. Beaulieu was this year. Yeah, I got like Brandon Davidson, which isn't going to help you at all. It's like a Mark Bergevin 4th-line move. Mark Bergevin and Garth Snow love those kinds of moves.
Yeah. Stack chairs.
I do not understand what John Tavares was supposed to do. They were in the playoff race last year.
yeah.
They were right there. They were a couple wins away. So is he supposed to quit at that point? Because the reaction would be the same.
Here's a
The
potential
reaction
thank
would have
you.
been the same. What do you want, Islanders fans? He left because your organization is a disaster, which you knew about. And that's what you're upset about. You're not upset about John. You're upset about 15 lost years. That's what you're upset about.
Yes.
Just be honest about it. You're pinning it on one guy, but you're pissed off.
And it's the wrong guy.
And it is the wrong guy.
How's this?
Blame it on City Council, blame it on Charles Wang, blame it on Garth Snow, blame it on the myriad of coaches they had. Are you joking me?
Okay,
with this?
Islanders fans, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. 2, okay? The team you currently have, with all of its prospects, at its current point in the standings, but without John Tavares. Or the mystery box, which is John Tavares re-signs prior to last year's trade deadline, and Garth Snow keeps his job. Because that's what would have happened. Why would they fire him? He did the thing. He did the one thing they asked him to do. Either trade him or keep him. He wasn't able to do either. Tavares stays, Garth Snow stays. And you continue to be shit forever. Forever. Because he was a terrible GM. He was brutal. Can we not acknowledge that?
He was awful.
He was awful.
And their scouting was awful. They got lucky on a couple guys. They did.
Oh, Barzal is a fucking pick.
Yeah, but when you're that bad for that long, you should have a Barzal.
Right, yes, 100%.
Like, how do you not? That's why we're looking at the Oilers going, why the hell do you not have more?
Yeah, it's like, you should you even get credit for your hits when you have so many misses?
Well, it'd be like giving the Leafs credit for picking Austin Matthews. Like, come on.
It's like Kevin Pillar swinging at something that's above the strike zone and hitting a home run.
That's right. Kevin Pillar, who was traded today. By the way, interesting fact that I read out to Jesse. With the Kevin Pillar trade, and this is really only matters to Blue Jays fans, and this is how even without a cap, teams absolutely strip it to the bone and rebuild even without a cap. The Blue Jays have $51 million on their current payroll. 25-man roster.
Oh my God.
Here's the fun part. They're paying $49 million to players not currently playing for them. Russell Martin, Troy Tulowitzki. I believe that's the majority of it.
Are you serious?
Yes. And so they have a $100 million payroll. $49 million of that is not currently playing for them.
Wow. Okay.
That's not a team trying to win. And that's why
That's quite bad.
they had 10,600 people at the game last night.
10,000 something.
The lowest they've ever had is 10,300.
See, that's tough because I don't know. You guys know more about baseball than I do.
Just to be fair, for a long while they were misreporting the attendance numbers under the old regime.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, it used to be a big thing because it wasn't. They'd be like, "Oh, there's 17,000 people here," and it was clearly like 8,000 people. This was like the mid 2000s. Yeah.
Right. So this was before the Donaldson days.
Yeah, this is when they were like bad.
So
when
they-
they had like the T jerseys and all that.
Oh, the black jerseys.
Yeah, and then the black ones too.
The
Yeah,
kids'
these are the bad
jerseys?
days.
Oh,
yeah.
they were terrible.
Mean Ace.
It was, the old regime used to misreport the
No
attendance
Now,
numbers.
kidding.
Dude,
Yeah.
all bad teams do that though. Like,
Yes.
back in the day when the Marlies first arrived in Toronto, no one went to their games, and I'd be in the press box, and TVK, the Trevor Van Otzenberg, the media guy who now actually works for the Tampa Bay Lightning, would come out and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, we have 3,000 people." And I'd look out into the stands and turn around. I'd be like, "Trevor," and
I can count everyone
yeah,
here.
I can literally. I'm waving to my aunt right now. That's her. That's Kelly right there. Like I can see her individually because she's the only person in her section. Trevor, how dare you? No, so all bad teams would do that. And the Jays.
Because there's really nothing tied to attendance numbers.
You know,
You don't.
you know what's interesting about it too?
Steel.
Torontonians.
Steelheads are bad too.
We know.
You go to Steelheads.
Was it Steel?
Yeah, you go to
Dude, there-
Steelheads on like.
There was a
Steelheads.
snowstorm one time, and they
Yeah.
announced 700, and I'm like, there are 70 people here.
During the
There are
snowstorm-
more players on the ice.
During the snowstorm this year, it was supposed to be a kids' day. It was an 11 a.m. game, and so the snowstorm happened.
oh,
Big
and
ice
all the
storm.
kids canceled.
All the kids canceled. So it was a free game. If you could make it to the arena, you could go.
just
I
come.
forgot about that.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that's rough. That's really rough.
Oh, how bad is it when just let him in? Just let him in.
Whatever.
Have him buy the arena chicken fingers, and we'll make money off that. Oh,
You
baby.
get Ice Dogs tickets when it was the Ice Dogs. You get those for like $5.
Wow.
And people still wouldn't go.
OHL, dude.
Yeah.
It's OHL's. Well,
so weird.
Unless you're in a. I feel like Knights tickets are a little bit more expensive than maybe Kitchener Rangers, but dude, OHL tickets are like $20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For season tickets.
The Jenny's,
Yeah,
man, the Jenny's games are a blast for that reason.
Season-
Oh, yeah.
It's such a good night, and you can see people like you can go with your family. You actually go to a game with your family.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm starting to think about now.
Your
which
extended
is
family.
really
Yeah.
weird.
It was a lot of fun when we used to just walk around the arena, stand wherever we want.
Yeah.
just watch the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we got front row seats behind the bench like idiots.
Yeah, that was
And we
my-
were like, we'll be right
that
up
was
on the
my
glass.
fault.
Why were these tickets available? That's so dumb. And we couldn't see a thing. Not even Jesse, who's 9 feet tall.
It's weird that when you
Worst.
sign up to sit behind a bunch of 6.5-foot hockey players,
On
that
skates.
you wouldn't be able to see anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we stood to watch the game
yes.
despite having front row seats.
That was us. Intelligence. No,
Where were we?
Well, you know, it's interesting with because the Leafs, when the Leafs were bad under Peter Horacek, people stopped going to the games in Toronto, and that was the first time in my life that it's ever happened.
But the tickets were accounted for.
Tickets were no. They went through like 25 years consecutively of a sellout,
Yeah.
and then they didn't sell out.
Oh, really? Eh?
And you could get. I remember going to a scalper once, and we went to an Islanders game actually where John Tavares scored
Yeah.
the overtime winner.
That was on like a Tuesday, and it was half packed.
half
Oh, yeah.
half empty ACC. Never seen it like that.
Oilers.
Yeah.
Oilers, pre McDavid.
Bad.
Oh,
no, but
bad.
here's what I want to say. What's interesting about this, and I think the Jays have a parallel to the Leafs under Horacek. When there's no hope, or when the audience feels like, or the fan base feels like you have intentionally been grossly mismanaging this situation, they will rebel.
Habs fans
The Jays-
will not go.
Going into last year, everybody with a brain knew that the Jays going into last year basically had no shot unless everybody was healthy and
Some guys played above their heads.
Yes.
And the pitching stayed healthy and played above their heads. And
Yeah.
none of that was going to work
It was,
out.
it was
Things had
never
to
going to
go.
happen because
Things had to
go
go
wrong.
unreasonably right.
It had to be
Yes.
a miracle season.
But they raised the prices.
Yeah.
Kevin Travis has to play at least half the games.
A game.
A game ever.
Yeah.
Not fall out of his car and injure
He had
himself.
to be the guy from 2013, and
And he didn't play a game.
no.
And that's the thing that now people know. People are pissed with the Jays because not only are their favorite players gone, there's nothing coming back. It's
Yeah,
like they had a huge move for Donaldson to, I believe it was St. Louis, where they had a major prospect coming back who ended up breaking into the league.
Who won the Rookie of the Year last year?
And the Jays didn't do
or at
it
least finished
because they
third in
wanted to
voting.
sell tickets.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean
Sorry,
to.
no, go ahead.
What was the guy's name? Do you remember?
I could look it up.
Let's
in
look it
2
up.
seconds.
And now
yeah.
they can't Because, like, dude, I'll go for Vladdy. I'll go for the Vladdy show.
Hell yeah, that will be a sellout.
But he's not gonna play for a month.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is the best part. Okay, so you feel jilted, you feel pissed off. I got to tell you, it's going to be a really exciting team to watch.
Oh, I know.
And that's the best part. Like, it's super weird to say that, considering that all your favorite stars have left. But as soon as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets here, this is going to be one of the most exciting teams to watch in baseball. And they won't win every game. But you know that there's going to be some crazy shit that happens because they're young and they're fun.
One guy.
And they're hungry.
One guy. Who was the dude who I want to say he won Rookie of the Year, and he ended up going to Boston. I think he won a World Series there. Oh, my God.
Eric Hinsky?
Might have been Hinsky.
Like a Blue Jay?
Yeah.
Eric Hinsky.
Yeah. So, and I remember that the team was terrible back then, but I was excited to go to the game because I'm like, we got that guy. And every time you need one person who, when he goes to bat, you can't be in the bathroom.
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Yes, but until he plays, there isn't one. There's no. I don't know if I could name 5. I don't know if I could name. Who's in their rotation? I don't know.
Stroman, Sanchez.
No, like they're hitting.
Oh,
dude,
well,
I don't know.
It's tough. It's tough.
Who's the leadoff?
Randall Grichuk.
Oh yeah.
Justin Smoke batting cleanup.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Is he?
Yeah, he bat cleanup on opening day. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Dude, he's like a 25 home run hitter. He's an all-star last year.
Yeah, last year.
No,
Teoscar Hernandez.
He's a good
out
player.
there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like Teoscar. Yeah. He's got a dangerous bat.
Luke Maley.
Danny
Catcher.
Danny
Is he the starting
Jansen.
catcher now?
Yeah.
Danny Jansen. No, Danny Jansen's their starter, isn't he? It's like a
Maley
platoon.
plays enough. I don't know who's starting. Danny Jansen might be starting.
Like, it's
They're both
tough.
terrible.
It's
They're both
tough.
bad.
But you know what?
They need to make beer way cheaper.
They will. Well, I think they're making hot dogs cheaper and they're doing huge giveaways. They're making the fan experience better.
Yeah.
I actually am very excited about the Jays this year because I feel like now this is the rock bottom corner where they go up.
Okay. Hope
This is
so.
where I think this is what I believe.
You get free shots on your way in the door. All right, so he's showing me the.
Billy
I
McKinney.
recognize
How many guys do you recognize on that one?
5. I recognize 5.
That's not bad.
It's
5
not-
out of 9 for a guy who doesn't watch that many games.
Billy McKinney is made up. Brandon Drury is also made up.
We got Drury from the Yankees, didn't we? Or was that McKinney?
Yeah, no, Drury. Yeah.
Justin Smoke, I know. Randall Grichuk, I barely know. Rowdy Tellez, I mean, his name is Rowdy. Of course, I remember it. Teoscar, I know. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., I know because I've seen his name before. I couldn't pick him out
And
of
he's
the
got
lineup.
beautiful hair.
Danny Jansen, like, is he related to the pitcher they used to have? I don't know. And Freddie Galvis. I don't know. That person's made up also.
That's
And he's a shortstop! Who is that?
He's a really good defensive player that they picked up.
Is he? Okay, good. I hope so.
Yeah.
Anthony Alford was called up.
Yeah.
That's
Hey, that is cool. No, but do you hear what I'm
You know what? Can I
talking
just
about?
say, you know what's sad though?
What?
Looks like Dalton Pompey's out of options and they're going to move on.
No!
Who will produce the show?
Who will produce this show? No, like
it was Jack Flaherty, by the way, of the Cardinals. He was starting pitcher who had a dynamite start to the year last year, and he could have been in a Donaldson trade. But anyways,
but okay, so I know I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's because I don't. But the Jays need people like me to come to their games. And
yeah.
what for? Like, dude, unless Vladdy's there, what for?
I think
Sorry.
they know that.
How did we get here?
Yeah, for like 3 summers there, the Jays was like the fun thing you do.
It was wicked.
Yeah, it was just kind of you go with your friends, you go have beers at the Jays because they're good, and we're gonna watch them. And then now it's not that anymore.
I think
I
it's
told you
fun
all the
though,
Billy Koch story. I
when
love
people
it.
start to catch on to younger guys. You can already tell that like Randall Grichuk's got a little fan club brewing.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Pillar was traded today. A lot of people loved him, but he was just painful to watch sometimes in the batter's box.
Defensively, he was fun.
Obviously, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is a guy that they're excited about. I don't know if Bo Bichette comes up this year, but that's another guy that I think he's a good-looking guy, long hair. Yeah, people are gonna like him. And Anthony Alford is the guy that no one talks about. But man, that guy, he's gonna be great too. They hope.
And Craig Biggio's son, is it?
Kevin Biggio.
Yeah.
Can you tell that Adam carried the baseball conversation when we filled in for Jeff Blair?
So you believe in these guys? That there's
I don't know about
young guys
so
that
Biggio's interesting because he's like a top 10 prospect in their organization, which in hockey is like, what chance does the 10th guy have? Yeah. In baseball, it's like, oh no, he might, because you have 80 million people in your organization. You draft literally everybody that's ever played baseball ever.
Yeah,
and
I saw. Pilar was a 32nd round pick.
979th overall.
Shut up. That's not real. Those aren't numbers.
And he made it.
Yeah.
Like, is there a draft every 5 years? Is that how?
No, and they have it in the middle of the season.
They have 2 drafts.
That's right, the Rule 5.
There's a Rule 5 and then the regular draft.
What does that mean?
They
How many
moved it
people
from the
play
middle
baseball?
of the season.
They got rid of the second trade deadline. Did you hear about that?
What?
They
No?
have a waiver. They had a waiver and non-waiver trade deadline. So the non-waiver trade deadline was 31st of July.
Yeah, and then 31st of August.
Yeah, 31st of August was the
Or
waiver. trade.
30th. Is there a 30th?
Yeah.
Those aren't-
August, I don't know.
Yeah.
Those
I know.
words don't make sense.
Calendars. Yeah.
So
Anyway,
just-
so now
yeah.
it's all the same day.
I tell you what, it gives a little bit of it puts a little bit of stock in the storm surge, because the only positive thought I've had about the Blue Jays is when they won a game, and so they doused their manager in beer.
Who seems like a great guy.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's good.
I love
like,
him.
He
dude.
seems
You gotta
so happy
do.
to be there.
Yes.
You gotta do that gimmicky, fun shit to get people
Dare I
interested.
say the thunderclap?
Yes. Ooh. Like, it's the only thing I've had any interest in when it comes to the Jays, because I know Vlad's out.
Well, they're going to turn it around. Anyway, I think we got here through the Islanders somehow.
Yeah, sorry.
But what
Nah.
I was going to say is that New York Islanders fans, and this is a really long road to take to this point, are pinning the frustrations of 15 years on John Tavares leaving. And it's funny because this is the first time where they've looked like a legitimate contender in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And that's not Tavares' fault. That comes down to trading for Alexei Yashin. You lose. You lost Luongo.
Rick
You lost
DiPietro.
Spezza. You lost Zdeno Chara, and it starts from that era and keeps going and keeps going. And you can even go back further when they had somebody run Pat LaFontaine out of town.
You know who else?
Brian
they got?
Berard. The Brian Berard trade for Felix Potvin. I'm sorry, Steve, but that was an awful trade for the Islanders.
Oh, well.
I'm just saying, it's
I'm not allowed to speak elephant.
15, 20 years of brutal shit, but it's unfortunate that a guy like John Tavares, who, to quote Sean Avery, didn't get arrested, didn't say boo to anyone.
Another guy,
didn't do
I
anything.
don't remember the trade in which it happened, but the draft pick, the Islanders traded the draft pick that drafted Travis Hamonic.
Ooh.
Like, yeah.
But they got him
There's-
back.
There's so many guys. Yeah, well, briefly.
Yeah, so I think it's like, okay.
Oh, wait, no. I think I'm thinking of the Oilers traded away.
That I think
I'm
is
getting
more
my
likely
blue and
the
orange
case.
teams confused.
Regardless, they're both blue and orange and bad.
Yes.
Until the Islanders being good this year. It's. I just feel like it's really, really unfair for what John Tavares has had to go through. I understand being upset. We've watched players in Toronto leave, and people are like, "Well, Matt Sundin was 37." Yeah, you know what? You know who left at his height? Cujo.
Yeah.
Cujo was the best he'd ever been, and he walked down the street to Detroit. And
He was
Chris
starting
Bosh-
to trend down.
Chris Bosh left and walked away and was like, "I'm going to go win championships with LeBron," and he did.
Yeah.
And now he has a retired jersey in Miami.
Yeah. And says
I
how
hate
much he doesn't
that
like
he's-
Toronto.
Yeah. I hate that he's like forever a member of the Miami Heat. I'm like, you were there for 5 minutes.
Well, he won championships there, man.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
And also,
I hate that like his Raptors, like people are talking about like should his jersey be retired? I'm like, fuck no.
No, I don't think so. He
Screw
doesn't.
that guy.
He doesn't like
No.
it here.
No.
He doesn't like it here.
No.
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 No. Vince Carter I would put in way
Yes.
before him. Way before him.
Even the way Vince left, Vince Carter changed the face of this city. Period.
country.
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of the basketball
He
landscape.
was Air Canada.
Yeah.
That's what they called him.
It was
Yeah.
him and Steve Nash. And Steve Nash is actually from here.
Yeah.
Well, Canada. He's actually from further away.
You know
than
the
Vince Carter, but-
Raptors actually tried to sign him, and he chose to go to L.A.
No.
and not make the playoffs with Kobe. Well, some unknown named DeMar and some other unknown named Kyle put the team in the playoffs. Should have signed here, Steve Nash. Just saying. But it is just interesting watching the Islanders fans be this upset. Some Islanders fans, a good chunk who were there last night and who were there the time before. I think it's a shame. Because no matter what John Tavares does in his career, he did spend 8 years of it with the Islanders. Like, at the time of this contract, when this contract ends with the Leafs, whether or not he extends and goes further with the Leafs or goes to some other club or whatever, he will have spent still more time with the Islanders organization. And yeah, they weren't able to get a lot done, but that's not John's fault.
He could retire as a Leaf and still have played more of his career with the Islanders.
Yes. And that's where it's sad because that's a guy that really did give it all for that team.
Yeah, when are the Islanders fans going to get a chance to boo Garth Snow?
Yeah, never.
You know, damage has been done and he's gone.
And Charles Wang's gone.
Yeah.
Like
whatever team Garth Snow ends up being a scout for or whatever, boo them. Boo them every time they touch the puck. It's not JT's fault. And everyone talking shit earlier this year when I kept saying this is John Tavares' best season he's had of his entire life. Because they kept saying...
Is there a disputing that?
Well, no, because earlier they said, well, I don't care what his pace is. Last year he had a hot start and then he died near the end. I don't even know if that's true. All I know is he did the thing. Career high in goals, career high in points. He's upholding his end of the bargain, man. Mm-hmm. What is he, second in league goal scoring?
He's
third?
The highest scoring Leaf center ever.
Ever in a single season. Like through the 80s when they were trash. Early 90s when they weren't trash and scoring was still sky high. Doug Gilmour had 127 points. Like 90 of them were assists. And not a single 46 goal scorer up the middle.
In 102 years.
What was Matt's best season?
I think he was a 30 guy, usually.
I want to say he hit 40 2 or 3 times.
He hit 40 with the Leafs twice. He had a 41 in 01-02 and a 41 in 96-97. And he had 47 in 92-93 with the Nordiques.
I think his best single season was with the Nords, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
114 points, the 92-93.
You're
It's
right, Justin. I think
insane.
it was with the Leafs.
It's insane that they were able to. No offense to Wendell Clark, but after a season like that,
terrible
the next
trade.
year they traded him to Toronto.
No.
Why?
They didn't trade him until 93-94.
Yeah, but he was 92-93 was his best season, right?
Yeah, and then he played one more with the 93-94 with the Nordiques.
yeah, it was,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
and
it wasn't
then
a
he
half
was
season.
traded that off.
I don't remember.
but-
No, it's
it was
the
a
half
terrible
season
trade.
was the season in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
It was 94-95 is the half season.
Oh, right, because it
47
was a
games.
lockout.
Yeah.
Okay, still.
But the shame is once Sundin came to Toronto, that's when the dead puck era began.
Yes.
And so he's just starting to hit his peak, and the NHL is becoming impossible to score in.
Because of the Devils.
Like I
It's
still
the New
remember.
Jersey Devils' fault.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you, Robbie Fatorik. You
Well, and
jerk.
the rules. I remember Sundin breaking down, crossing the blue line, and he's got 2 guys riding on him like they're Santa and he's their reindeer,
Yes.
and he would still score.
Yeah.
It was
When
unbelievable.
did they finally get rid of the 2-line pass?
After the first
That was so
lockout.
dumb.
After
It's a
the
stupid
the
rule.
first
Sorry,
lockout.
not the first lockout. The first lockout in the modern era in 2003, 2004.
The
I think so.
03-04 one?
Yeah.
I'm so happy there's people
Or
listening who
4 or
have
5.
no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
Two-line
God.
pass was the dumbest rule.
It used to be illegal. What was it? You couldn't pass it from
Over
before
any-
your own blue line.
Over any 2 lines.
That's
so the blue
so-
line or red line. The puck couldn't go over any 2
Like, how would you get it over the line?
Just make it so that you can't pass forward.
And how would you even call that? You just dead it? Like, it's just dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wheat. Yeah.
It's dead. Sorry, guys.
Stupidest
Two-line
thing.
pass.
Stupidest thing. Worst rule.
It would make it almost impossible to get once you got the puck in the offensive zone, it would almost make it impossible to leave. Like once you were there for a while.
Well, you just got to leave, but your players got to be before the red line, which is ridiculous.
Exactly.
Because you can't have a breakout.
And their team would be almost impossible for their team to break out, which created the trap.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. Awful.
There was
Awful.
one playoff game I watched where the Leafs had 6 shots. 6
Oh, yeah.
shots the entire fucking game.
The entire game. Dude, we're here. We are hockey fans in spite of hockey. we really are. Despite hockey's best efforts, we're still hockey fans.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Truly.
Can you believe that?
No, it's ridiculous. And it's funny that era coincides with some of the best goaltending we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Dominic Hasek.
I don't want to take anything away from Waugh, Hasek, Joseph, Brodeur, and you can name a few
James
other.
Reimer.
Yes.
Yeah, James Reimer for sure.
Yes.
However, do you think that those guys would have been that good and won that many games had it not been that era?
Well,
I mean,
they were making those saves with people kneeing them in the face.
Waugh was good
Yeah.
in the 80s, so I'll give it to Waugh.
The one year, the what was it, the 98-99 season. Folks, if you could see some of the goals that were called back, because of the toe in the crease rule.
Worst.
Oh my God. And then they had the video games reflect it.
No.
And every now and then, and NHL 99 was my first ever NHL game. But what they would do is sometimes it would glitch because it was a computer game in the 90s. And they would show you the overhead cam, like, let's see if his toe was in the crease.
Yes.
And then a video game feature. I know.
It was.
But sometimes it would
Realism,
glitch.
Jesse.
You'd be on like the skirt of the face-off circle, and it'd be like, no goal! And you're like, what? This is a playoff game! I'm 1 goal down, you bastard! And like, I played with a joystick too. Yeah. Oh my God.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play that.
Oh.
Yeah, no, and the league and video games and everyone went, never mind. They threw it away. They
did.
put it in the garbage.
Well, and the
whole
reason they
rule.
got rid of the toe in the crease rule is clearly because the Dallas Stars did not deserve to win the Stanley
Oh,
Cup.
yeah.
And
There's an
At least-
illegitimate cup.
yes, and
No,
it's
well,
not
it
the
was,
Dallas.
It was game 6.
Yeah.
Right? They could have come back and won another game. They had to play another game. So
I mean, listen,
What
Dallas,
we'll never know.
it's
We'll
not-
never know.
It's not that Dallas didn't deserve to win. They didn't deserve to win that way.
Yes.
But the confetti had already been fired, so they couldn't pick it all back up and keep playing.
Yeah, confetti is a tough one. Confetti is a real tough one. It's a great way to have things go your way. How are they ever they're not gonna clean it up. If you're the on-ice staff and they're reviewing it, are you gonna clean it up?
No.
No, you're not. You're gonna wait.
Stanley Cup, Game 7, 2019.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Adam, how dare you? No, don't put this evil into the world.
Say-
offsides.
No!
Say
No!
Toronto Maple Leafs,
Oh, my God.
Winnipeg Jets for fun.
Oh,
Let's just say
God.
Winnipeg Jets.
Why? Why?
Both teams need a cup.
No.
The Leafs haven't won, Jets haven't won,
Oh.
and it goes in overtime, and the Tavares Marner Hyman line hits the ice.
Oh, you're a
And
piece
for
of
some
shit.
reason, Dustin Byfuglien blows a tire in transition, and it's 3-on-1.
Oh, no.
And John Tavares passes to Mitch Marner, who sets up Zach Hyman beautifully, who somehow gets it past Connor Hellebuck,
Toronto boy wins it for his boyhood team.
assisted by 2 other Toronto boys.
The Leaf fan line.
That's fun.
The Leaf fan line, literally.
Yeah.
And everybody goes crazy.
Gloves
and
everywhere.
Paul Maurice, former coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs,
Says,
challenges. And we spend 10 minutes. And it finds out, oh, that's no goal. But at least we got the call right. Winnipeg comes back and scores. Let's say it's Mark Scheifele because he's an Ontario boy as well. First Stanley Cup in Winnipeg, and every Jet fan listening right now is going, yes, I like this.
Yes.
But don't tell me that if that happened to your team that you'd be thrilled about it.
I like it because we got the call right. We got the call
Oh,
right.
I hate it.
You can't disagree with that. You can't disagree with the correct call.
First of all, you're both wrong. Jesse, you're wrong because I hate the review. Adam, you're wrong because here's how it would go down. Matthews would score the Stanley Cup winning goal. It gets disallowed because it's Matthews. Line A comes back down the other way.
I have another scenario
does
for
it.
you. 3-on-0. Tavares, Brown, Marner.
What's wrong with us?
They're all-
Tavares Brown Marner.
They're
Yeah,
all
there was
coming
an
down.
awkward line change, yeah.
Okay, all right.
They're all coming down. Connor Hellebuck's like, 3-on-0. I'm going to knock off the net. He turns around. He shoves the net off. Takes whatever
It's happened.
penalty.
It's happened.
And is like, oh, no 3-on-0. You can't have it anymore. Winnipeg kills off the penalty, come down the other end, score a goal. What if that happens?
No, it'd be a penalty shot.
Sure, he stops the penalty shot.
Which
Who
would be
cares?
awful.
He stops it.
Nobody wants
It
a
wouldn't have been a
penalty
3-on-0.
Oh man.
Marner misses, hits the post.
Why wouldn't you take your chances with the penalty shot?
Yeah.
Okay, they
It's
should make a
one
rule.
guy versus 3.
They should make a rule where if you do that, you get 3 guys in the penalty shot.
No.
Yes,
no, it's an
yes,
automatic.
you should.
If you do that, it's an automatic goal.
Or that. That makes so much more sense.
It's an
No,
automatic
let's go
goal.
with Steve's 3 guys.
No, you're right. No, it should just count. It should just count.
Maximum chaos.
Yeah.
I do
Let's
like
make
the
things
idea.
worse.
And you can go backwards.
You just play a 3-on-0 penalty, just a full penalty.
Yeah.
You
Just
get 4 shots.
four.
Steve's idea.
That is,
Hockey.
that is just how Byzantine the NHL can get. But no, I'm serious. Like if
what if he
you,
knocks off the net?
I mean, that's what you should do
I go ballistic.
in my house league. Fun fact.
Yeah.
I couldn't
So-
upload the video.
So I was a defenseman on my team, and I was the captain of my team, and Justin Fisher was against me when.
No way.
Yeah.
You laid him on his ass, right?
No, well, no. What happened was this. There were other times where I laid him on my ass, and he laid me on my ass a couple times too. We always were very friendly, competitive, and we played on the same selects team, so we were like buddies, all you know.
Yeah.
And so I was playing defense, and Justin blew right by me, just turnstiled me, and he wasn't going to be in a breakaway, but no penalty shots in my league. So what did I do? I was on my knees. I turned around, put my stick in his legs, and pulled him down.
Why? What league has no penalty shots?
No penalty shots in House League. So I took my 2-minute penalty, and our friend Alex got out there and killed it basically on his own, and no goal.
Wow.
And Justin was like, "You son of a bitch!" And he's like, "But I would have done the same thing."
Penalty shots shouldn't they be the norm in House League? Like instead of a penalty, it's just a penalty
you got to
shot.
remember that this was. I mean, what is this? Would have been 05, 06.
Clutching, grabbing jerseys that were 3 sizes too big. We're talking about that like it was the 50s.
I know.
It was 15 years ago.
It was the 50s in terms of how much the game has
14
changed.
years ago.
And that was House League. But a lot of them, they would implement the rules that the NHL implemented like 3 or 4 years later.
Oh, my God.
Like, I started hockey, there was a 2-line pass rule.
That's so bad.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Oh, yeah. Now, when you're 8,
It doesn't really matter.
puck's not going 2 lines, man.
Yeah.
It's just not going to get there. But as you get older and that sort of thing, it sort of gets frustrating. You're kind of trying to zig. Anyway, they got rid of it.
Does your men's league have the trapezoid?
Yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that at very least is just lines painted in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Man,
But it's funny about how much time it took to become standard.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
it's
we'll play
crazy.
with this weird trapezoid rule.
Well, how many beer leagues have Martin Brodeur?
right?
Well, and also, let me just throw this out. Martin Brodeur, go back and watch some of his playoff games, the way he used to go out and play the puck.
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
just be in the corner dangling guys. Like, it's just, you
they-
cannot believe it.
People criticize him like, oh, this, that, and whatever, his numbers. Dude, they made a rule because of him.
Yeah.
And then because of him and Sean Avery, they made another rule.
One
right.
more hockey reminisce thing, because you brought up Martin Brodeur.
Yes.
Remember in the Olympics, before the game he got pulled, or when they switched goalies, when he came out in the middle of the ice and he tried to whack it out of midair?
No.
It was like in the bronze
Yes.
medal round. No,
Yes.
not bronze. It was like the round before the gold medal round.
Was this
remember.
2002?
The last one Martin Brodeur was in.
Keep going, guys.
I think that
Yeah.
might have been Vancouver.
Then it was Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like before the elimination rounds. He comes out and he tries to whack it out of midair.
Yeah.
puck?
No, I
You
don't
don't
remember
remember
that.
this?
I think it was
No?
Brodeur in the first game against the States, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was his last game he ever played in it.
It
uniform.
was very obvious. It's like, no, we're done here.
We're done here.
Yeah,
I just
get
remember
out.
having a mini heart attack when that happened.
Oh, because he played in the 90s.
Yeah.
And that is what goalies who played in the
That's
90s
stuff
do.
you do. I just can't wait till the game's done.
Yeah.
You know, until they finish the sport, as you always say.
It'll be fun to watch. I'm sure it will be.
And we're going to interrupt the retro hockey talk
Yes.
to bring on somebody who's going to talk about something that broke today. History made today. Haley Salvian, the Athletic, who, if you don't follow already, you need to, because she's got some pretty incredible stuff. Haley, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for finally coming on. It's so great to have you.
Yeah, well, thanks for finally inviting me.
Well,
I always make a point to make a couple of shots right when I go on a podcast, so people, want to invite me back.
No, okay, right.
yeah.
Right.
Well, we thought we'd invite you today of all days because, you're not doing anything, right? So-
Not busy at all.
So, Jesse,
You have two direct connections to Steve, because you are the Oshawa Generals in-game host and a Ryerson alumni.
Yep.
so how does it feel to be the better person from Oshawa?
I mean, other than my work with the Oshawa Generals, I don't live there. I'm not from Oshawa,
Yeah,
but
but-
I mean, I'm certainly the biggest thing in Oshawa right now.
First of all, you are not the Tartan Tavern. How dare you?
Haley, man, we're going to get along just great. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so, okay, obviously this weekend, and I don't know where to start. So I'm going to start from just the timeline, right? Early this week, we find out that the CWHL is ceasing operations.
Right after they award the
Right.
Clarkson Cup.
And they had record ratings for this. It was 143,000 people that watched on Sportsnet, which is, by the way, in Canadian TV numbers, that's pretty big.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so were you surprised when this happened?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I got an email on Saturday night around 8 o'clock from Laurel Walzak, the chair of the board, and from Jana Heffer, the commissioner, obviously. And it just said, Haley, please, see this personalized invitation attached. And it was just something saying, come to Ryerson where Laurel is a teacher, excuse me. And, we have something that we need to share with you. And I mean, I think I had 5 guesses of what it was, and I struck out. I went 0 for 5. I had absolutely no idea that this was going to happen on Sunday morning. I had no idea. I was just as shocked as everyone else was.
So the rule that in the press release that we read through you, the word was, and I believe it was you with the scoop, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So congratulations on that. Although I wish it was for better news. I'm not gonna lie.
No, of course.
So Haley, I guess they said that the model that they were using, even though they're a nonprofit organization, obviously you got to bring some money in, was unsustainable. Can you give us any insight into what that would have been? Because this is a league that's operated since 2007, and I'm sure there were leaner years than what they had this year. What is it that led to it being so unsustainable?
So, I mean, I will actually have something that is kind of a deep dive on that question right there for The Athletic. It's something I've been working on before the new news that came out. But to keep with the timeline, I mean, they've operated as a not-for-profit since its inception in 2007. So when you look at what the league was to its core in 2007 when it was created, it was just a group of women who wanted somewhere to play, right? It was born from the ashes of the first iteration of the National Women's Hockey League. And so, they created this league as a not-for-profit. I'm pretty sure they had to pay to play. They didn't get paid. They spent money out of pocket to play hockey in this little, league that they started 12 years ago. And then it just started to grow and grow and grow into this business and this operation that ends up having, a lot of potential to be something huge for women's hockey players. And it went from, a not-for-profit league for them to just continue to play hockey into, these women being called professionals. So, just with a not-for-profit, that's a charity, right? When you think of a not-for-profit, you're not thinking of professional sport leagues. That's just not what it is. So, I mean, I kind of understand where they're coming from. Obviously it's really, really unfortunate that all of a sudden these women have nowhere to play and there's this void that's been opened up. But, when you think of successful sporting leagues, they're not-for-profits. They're not charities. They are organizations. They are businesses. So, with that being said, I kind of understand some of the struggles with that. I mean, a not-for-profit, you're never going to be able to make enough money in a not-for-profit to pay your players a livable wage. It's just not the way the model works. All the money that you kind of earn, it goes back into your business. And then, they weren't hemorrhaging money. I looked at the finances. They weren't hemorrhaging money, but they weren't exactly making enough for this to continue to go on the way that it was.
What do you think about the timing? Because I wanted to be critical of it. I mean, you literally just awarded the Clarkson Cup. Everyone's happy about it. Then immediately you announced that the league is disbanding and it's just going to hang over the World Championships like this great storm cloud. And now I'm trying to think of when I would have done it, and I don't have an answer.
Well, I mean, think of what would happen. It's kind of a lose-lose situation, right? Imagine what happens, they come back from World Championships and likely Canada and USA are both either super pumped or super sad about their gold and silver, and then they come home and find out they have nowhere to play. So then the narrative then would have been, well, why didn't you tell us 2 weeks ago? Why didn't you tell us, when you knew? Why did you wait? So right now the narrative is very much, why did you do this before Worlds? But if they did it after Worlds, it would be, well, how long did you know and why didn't you tell us sooner?
Yeah,
so there is no right answer. To close a league and essentially lay off almost 200 people, there's no good time for that.
It's unbelievable. So, and to clear it up for people, the players were paid.
Yes, they were paid stipends. They weren't paid salaries. It was about $2,000 to $10,000 that they were paid, but they were never paid a livable wage.
Interesting. Okay, because I remember I remember the big news when the NWHL finally became a thing is, I want to say it was minimum was 10,000.
Yeah,
And
so
maximum.
the NWHL. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. Maximum was 25.
Yeah. So when the NWHL was created, they were the first North American league to pay women's hockey players. And then in their second year, they slashed their salaries by about 50% because they didn't make enough money to continue working with that model. So, and then it was, I guess, it's been 2 full seasons of players getting paid by the Canadian Women's Hockey League. So it's I think it was $100,000 salary cap for the 6 teams. So, for 2 years they were kind of doing their work with, a budget that wasn't great, with a $600,000 expense, added on just like that. So that certainly, obviously it's great to give the players money, but it did not help their finances.
And so help me out. I think the CWHL started paying their players a year sooner than they had planned to, in part because of the NWHL. Is that right?
Yeah, so the NWHL, when there was the 2 leagues fighting, I think there was always people who kind of respected the fact that the NWHL pushed the CWHL to be better and be better faster. So the NWHL kind of pushed them, and now there was all of a sudden this competitor who was doing things better than them in certain aspects. Both of them have a lot of pros and cons. So it did kind of push the CWHL, but the major catalyst and the reason why those players started getting paid was the lucrative deal they signed with China.
Right. Oh my goodness! Like I'm just, it's so
there's a lot.
thick,
It's a lot.
Yeah.
the whole thing.
My brain hurts.
I can imagine. We've asked you 3 questions, and we're like, holy crap, this is way out of our depth.
Oh, yeah. You have no idea.
No. Well, I'm looking forward to your piece, and I'm going to read it like a novel because I believe it's gonna be a long one. Steve, you wanted to say?
Well, yeah. Sorry. So the $100,000 salary cap per team is what I'm stuck on right now, because I don't remember if it was a tweet from you or from someone else. So many people are doing so much amazing work on this story. The NHL gives, or this past season gave. Oh yeah, it's from Pierre LeBrun. Here he goes. The NHL is going from paying $50,000.
Well, this is the breaking news from today.
Right. To each women's league, to now paying $100,000 for the 1 league remaining, according to a source. That is mind-blowing and inexcusable.
So that's not.
Yeah, they're just relocating the money, right? They're not making when I was on a conference call with Danny Ryland, when that news broke, that's how I got a text about it right before I went on the call. So that's kind of how I jumped on that. And then, obviously Pierre is has so many sources. So he was on that part of it while I was on the call. And I mean, right away I was like, oh, wow, cool. This is like they're one of their biggest financial sponsors. I wonder what this means. And then, you see that. So, I mean, they didn't make a bigger effort to help them. They just said, well, CWHL is gone, so here's their money. It's not ideal. It's not the kind of support that anyone has been asking for from the NHL. But they've made it very clear that they're not going to step in a bigger role until there's no league. Like, Gary Bettman's not going to come in and create a league which forces the NWHL to fold, because then he's, once again, the big bad wolf who this time just ruins, this young female entrepreneur's business venture, right? He has no interest in squashing someone else's business. So he's waiting until there's absolutely nothing in the women's hockey market before he moves in. So while obviously it's disappointing that, they're just relocating money, there could be more to come. Like this news just happened on Sunday.
Right.
Like, you can't really expect them to be like, oh, I'm just going to conjure up hundreds of thousands of dollars to you within the last 24 hours. No, it doesn't work like that. At least my knowledge of a business.
Yeah, no kidding.
To me, it's not about the breaking news, though. It's about the fact that that's all they were giving them. Like, the NHL will bend over backwards to
Well, did you see
pay
how
for
much
oopsies.
money they give the CHL? I think Scott Wheeler just tweeted it if you pull him up.
It's
I'm pretty
$12
sure they
million.
give the CHL $12 million a year, and that's
Wow.
a bunch of junior hockey players. So you're investing in once again young men, and instead of investing in professional elite women's hockey, it's not great. It's not a good look.
And that's the word. That's the word. You used it. Investment. I don't understand. Like, there are probably NHL teams paying their, social person more than $50,000. No respect to them. It's a hard gig. But, like, that is very close to nothing. Joe Pack had a great tweet. He's like, oh, yeah, that's like the fine for 10 homophobic slurs.
Yeah, or like, the how much money, like, Connor McDavid makes after he, like, breathes 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Forget Connor McDavid. At least he's good. Like, what is Mikhail Grabovski getting in compliance buyout? What is Mike Richards getting from the Kings? It's brutal.
So I'm going to ask the unpopular question, but I think the business side of it, the cold hard business side, is the NHL in a vacuum would invest money in the CHL because the majority of their players comes from there, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, from an NHL's perspective, that makes sense because there's a definite benefit, right? Connor McDavid comes out of there, Mitch Marner comes out of, your big stars, whatever. The NHL, if they looked at it in a vacuum without all the other things surrounding it, what for them is the benefit to investing in women's hockey?
I mean, I think it's like it's a difficult question. I mean, I think what's the negative that you're going to get in investing in women's hockey? I mean, it's hockey. Hockey's hockey. You're in this world, and if you're going to act, like you're affiliated with it in any way, you see the NHL All-Star Game, those players were there. And if there is going to be a WNHL, you kind of start cultivating that relationship now, don't you? I mean, you talk about creating a women's national hockey league. They have the rights for it. So why wouldn't they put the money into the product now while it's still, in this learning phase? Because if the players and the league has more money, the product's going to get better. The players are going to be more skilled. And that's just going to make them even better and more elite if they ever do get to the point of a WNHL.
Right.
And if they don't, and it doesn't end up being a direct NHL entity, then, I mean, congratulations, you just helped grow women's hockey, Gary Bettman. What's the problem with that?
Exactly. Well,
right.
and for the cost of what you give the CHL in 1 year, you could fund...
You fund 5 seasons.
You could give them more for... No, 10?
Yeah, well, and I'm not trying to... Sorry, I wasn't trying to say that the NHL shouldn't, but for anybody, like in a business case, you know
Devil's
what I'm saying?
advocate,
No, I understand, and I always try, and I think you guys probably see it in my social media, I always try to play both sides, the devil's advocate. I'm not the... I'm not going to run at someone with a pitchfork and a torch about these kind of things. I just think, and I spoke about this on Metro Morning today, it's like any business needs investment to run, so why not invest in women's hockey? Like, I don't think there's anything bad of it. People invest in bad stuff all the time. So instead of investing in a stupid company or like Fire Festival or something that's going to crash and burn, invest in these really talented female hockey players. Why not?
If the NHL were to buy out the NWHL, do you think people would look at them negatively, or would they say this is a positive thing?
I think there's whispers that is what the NWHL wants all along. Like they've kind of ran it in this way on purpose that, they're never just going to fold. Like Danny Ryland's never just going to say, okay, I'll shoulder all this debt. You guys don't have to pay me at all. Like, the only way that there's going to be a WNHL is if the NWHL crashes and burns or the NHL pays them out. So I don't think the NHL would be the bad guy. It depends on who you ask. I think when you talk to the people in the CWHL, that community, they want the NWHL to fold. They want a WNHL. That's what most of the players want, to my knowledge. So on that side of things, they're not going to be the bad guy. They're going to be the guys that finally stepped up and said enough is enough. We're going to take control. But I think for people on Danny Ryland's side, then yeah, of course. Well, obviously they're going to get a paycheck, but it just depends who you ask. I think it could go both ways. A lot of people want there to be no NWHL and they want a WNHL. A lot of people want that. But I also think a lot of people want to see Danny Ryland succeed as well.
So I guess my question in that too is obviously, so the NWHL also announced today, beyond the funding thing, which was an NHL source, the NWHL announced that they think they're going to have teams in Toronto, Montreal next year, and that they were open to working with the stakeholders of the Furies and the Canadians, and so my question is the NHL team involvement in those. So that the Toronto Maple Leafs are loosely associated or closely associated. I don't know what the association would be. I know the
They have a
Montreal
partnership.
Canadiens. They have a partnership. So does Montreal. What
Yep.
does the NHL, in those two particular franchises, what's the stakeholder for them there? I can imagine that those two brands will continue because why would you start anew? But, how much do the particular teams themselves, how much of a role can they play in this?
Well, I think that's a really tough question. I mean, the idea of an expansion, I got that from an NWHL source on Sunday. Like right away on Sunday, the NWHL, a source told me, we're going to expand into those markets. Like this announcement's going to come. So I kind of have already had the time from Sunday until now to kind of poke around in the CW and say, what do you guys think of this? And I think there's a lot more collaboration on the CWHL side. They're not just going to say, sure, come and take two of our teams, which is only maybe 50 roster spots, while the other 100 of us still have no place to play. That's not the way that I see things going. I think right now everyone's kind of caught up in the announcement of the NWHL approving an expansion, but that doesn't mean that the Canadian markets are just going to up and hand them over. That's something that I'm still trying to look into, because just from the conversations that I've had, it does not look like these women are just going to say, sure, take our franchises that we've worked 12 years to build.
Right.
It's so complicated. I told you my brain hurts.
It's
Like,
crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Like my phone's died like 5 times today. I'm texting and calling everyone saying, what do you know? What do you think of this? And it's so up in the air. I mean, all this stuff has just happened. So it's really difficult to, like, I don't even, that answer there with their expansion and what could happen and is it going to work? What's the stakeholders? I don't know yet.
Let's
I'm still
say,
trying to figure that out.
sorry. Let's say Toronto ends up in the NWHL. Montreal ends up in the NWHL. That's ultimately how it ends up. I remember, I want to say it was the 2017 Clarkson Cup final. I was there, and all the talk of that final, it should have been all about the Clarkson Cup, but I believe it was the day before, at the end of the Isabel Cup broadcast, they tweet out this map, and it's got all the NWHL teams plus Toronto and Montreal on it.
Yeah.
Is the NWHL getting its way? Are they getting what they want?
That's funny. I mean, I was just having a casual conversation with someone who has, I won't say their position, but someone who is like involved-ish and like has, something in the CWHL, and they're just like, the NWHL is getting everything it wants. It's getting everything handed to them because, the CWHL folded, and now the NWHL, who has the money and the power right now, can just step in and say, we're going to save the day. So, and I was also told, that the conversations about expansion into Canada have long been had. However, Danny has said that she has always been respectful of the markets that were there. She never wanted to come in and storm in and put a second team in Toronto or Montreal to compete with the CW. I just think that they were maybe sitting there and waiting, maybe not maliciously waiting for this to happen, but I think they knew the moment it did that they would jump in and move into those markets because they are very good hockey markets. Toronto's a big hockey city, and Montreal was probably the most profitable franchise in the CWHL. They had the most attendance numbers. They had Marie-Philippe Poulin. So that is always going to be a big hockey city as well.
And Hillary Knight.
And Hillary Knight now. Melody Daou's there. Emmerich Smashmeyer's there. Like, I could rattle off a lot of really important players who are there.
Fantastic. Okay, so this sounds like a eulogy here. But what reason do you see in all of this so far? I know it's very fresh, but what reasons for optimism do you see in all of this? What's the great hope right now?
Yeah, well, I think the hope is, there's too much talent, there's too much skill and excitement around the women's game. I think if anything, this is the first year of an Olympic quad, and the fact that even before this bad news came about, people were talking about women's hockey. They were talking about women's hockey, and the Olympics isn't until 2022. And it's only just 2019. So that's huge. That normally doesn't happen. You don't hear about women's hockey. Maybe you'll hear about it in a world championship couple of weeks, But you don't usually talk about it until centralization happens and you start to look at, maybe who's going to win gold. So I just think the fact that over these few months, since the NHL All-Star game, there's been all this momentum in the game. It does kind of feel like it's gone full stop right now, but I think that if anything has come of this, all of that momentum, people who probably wouldn't have been interested in women's hockey, people with deep pockets are now seeing what these women can do, and their interest has been piqued. So I think if what we can say is to be optimistic is, the women laid the groundwork for someone to be interested and possibly step in. While the Canadian Women's Hockey League, it will no longer be a thing on May 1st, I don't think it's the end of professional hockey in Canada. I think a lot of people have, been had their minds changed about the women's game in this past year because of what these players have done. And like I said, I just don't think that this is the end.
So let's ramp this up even more and let's ruin your schedule even more. What are the odds, in your opinion, of us seeing some sort of announcement on this front, at least within the NWHL, before or at the end of the World Championship?
From the NWHL or the CWHL?
Either.
I think that we will see something from the players post-World Championship once they're all back in North America in their home countries and they can meet and talk. Because right now all the players are training. I think today was their one day off before the games actually start on the 4th. So
wow.
I think the players who are home aren't going to bug the players who are away. They're certainly talking, but I don't think there's been many serious discussions about it. So I think post-World Championships, you'll hear something from the players. You've already seen their coordinated, Twitter posts and stuff on social media. So I think you can expect something from the CWHL players who are going to say something in response to the NWHL expansion. And I also feel like you can probably expect to see some stuff from the GMs and the coaches and the people who are on the ground on staff for the CWHL. And you can find that all on The Athletic. On the phone.
Look, Haley, when do you think that article is going to be out?
Which one? I mean, I'm working on a couple. I am, going to try to get something out about what really happened and why the model really didn't work. I'm going to try to get that for tomorrow.
Okay.
Thursday?
Okay.
What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday. Does it it even matter anymore?
Yeah.
What we really appreciate all the time, and we're going to follow up with you just because, Haley Wickenheiser tweeted that this could be a step back to take a step forward, or a couple steps forward, and I hope that sincerely is the case. So I'm sure they need a few months to figure things out, but we're going to be checking in with you along the way because this is a very complicated situation, a lot of nuance here, a lot of upset and a lot of hurt feelings as well. And certainly hope that this propels the game some way in a positive direction.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I'm going to keep my ears on the ground and try to get as much as I can for everyone because, there's certainly a lot of interest in it right now. If there was this much interest when they were playing regular season games, then maybe they wouldn't have folded, but I'm not going to be a gatekeeper to the interest that's here now, that's for sure.
Fair enough. Well, thank you, Haley. We really appreciate your time. Haley Salvian from The Athletic. Make sure you follow her on Twitter and catch the article that's one of the two articles that's coming out tomorrow and probably Friday or this weekend as well. Haley, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Go charge your phone.
Haley, it was a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Have
Take
a good
care.
one.
All right, bye.
Boy, lot there. Now
they're not done.
No, they're not done. There's a lot to go, but
it's sickening to me that it would cost so little to save them.
Well, yeah, but okay. So when I was doing the podcast with Sasky for the Maple Leafs, we had Cassie Campbell on, and Cassie Campbell Pascal, excuse me, and she said and she was a board member of the CWHL. And she said, it doesn't make sense to have two leagues. We need to merge them.
Yeah.
Just like it didn't make sense to have two professional football leagues or two professional baseball leagues.
Or two professional basketball leagues.
That's right.
The ABA and the NBA.
That's
all
right.
these leagues went through this, and eventually they came through as one league.
And they merged.
Yes.
In this particular case, unfortunately, they didn't merge. So Now it's I mean, it makes sense, as you know, as Haley rightly outlined it, to just, you know, for the NHL to get involved and for this to move forward, and for the NWHL and all the best players to come together in one league and grow it slowly. Like, it takes, listen, this is not going to be an overnight 30-team league with millions of people tuning in right away.
No,
but
I
I
thought,
definitely think that it's going to grow a lot faster than what people think.
Yeah, I thought they would have been able to keep the teams that they had. There are a few like harsh realities that they're being faced with. Like the NWHL, I think they're all like within relative driving distance.
It's like the Northern Connecticut Hockey League, really.
Yeah,
You know?
but then like the Calgary Inferno, I was always sort of like, how's that gonna work? That's gonna be.
But that's the thing. Like, within the next 10 years, that shouldn't be a problem anymore.
2 Boston teams.
Yeah.
I hope it ends up going well.
I think it will. I think it'll be fine. I really do.
There's
I believe
too
that.
many. Yeah, I think the optimism comes from, for me, how little it would actually take. Like, I'm flabbergasted that's all the NHL fronts, and the fact that there's just too much talent.
Yep. Absolutely. And too much
think
interest.
It's going in the direction, I think, that one day you'll see a subsidiary of the NHL that's a women's hockey league, and it'll have as many 15 teams or whatever they need to be sustainable, and it'll be successful.
Yeah.
I think it's trending in that direction. Like Haley just said, this is the step back to make that process, because you couldn't have 2 leagues.
And there's some really powerful people involved. Like the Montreal Canadiens are already sort of involved. MLSE is already sort of involved. I think I read that the Pagulas are involved with the Buffalo Buttes,
That's awesome.
And they got a shitload of money, shitload of resources. It just seems too obvious of a hit to fail.
It's too easy.
Yes.
It makes so much sense.
It's annoying, man. 50 grand?
I know. Crazy.
50 grand.
Hey, could be more than that by next season, right? That just might have been the NHL saying, either you guys merge or we're not going to give you any more than this. Yeah. That could have. And if I'm Gary Bettman, I might say that.
Maybe that was...
Because it's not... from the NHL's perspective, and that's why I asked the question I asked, there is a cold, hard reality of, what are we investing in here?
Maybe a few people got what they wanted.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening. And I think that $100,000 is just the start. I really do. I really, really do. I mean, I think the Clarkson Cup proved it. There is interest. And if you can get over 100,000 people watching a game, I mean, that's TFC is on TSN all the time. I don't know if it does more than 60 or 80,000.
I don't know if the Raptors can consistently beat that.
I don't know if they do either. And that means that
TFC
it's viable.
Doesn't. Yeah.
That means that it's viable. And the sports networks in this country need as much live local sports as they can get.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense.
There's too many channels for this not to be on.
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh, my God. It's crazy.
It's crazy. There's 80 sports channels in the city.
It's crazy. Now, I'm gonna move us on quickly because we are running out of time. But there was a lot to get to today. We're not going to get to it all. We may have to throw the press conference out the window. Your top star of the month for the month of March. In 14 games played, 7 goals, 20 assists. Can you guess?
That is Connor McDavid.
Last night during an interview, after the game, which surprisingly the Oilers posted on their Twitter timeline.
Have you had a chance to see it?
I did see it.
I'm not going to play the clip because it's sort of, the audio's not the best, and the emotion that Connor McDavid shows is always muted, but it's even more so in this one. I want you to watch it, but I'm going to read it to you.
It's laughable indifference.
So he finds out during, and he didn't know until somebody asked him, "Hey, you guys are now officially eliminated from the playoffs." And he basically goes on to say, "Well, it's been, it's kind of been this way all season. We all kind of knew where this was going."
Yeah,
and then
he's like, "Well, yeah, we didn't have a shot."
And then they asked him, reporters asked him about his frustration level, and here's what he said: "It's really, really high. It's really, really high. We want to play in the playoffs as a team. I personally want to play in the playoffs. I'm not happy about it. It's going to be a long summer. It's been an insane season. Coaching change, GM change, good times and bad times. It's been a roller coaster. It's been emotionally challenging." And then he was asked, if he thought there might be reason for optimism. He said, "We don't have a GM. We don't even have a GM," he said. "We have a lot of crap to figure out. I hope we could put the right man in the spot and we could put together a good team. We let losing streaks drag on. We let times where we weren't able to. We let losing streaks drag on. We let times where we weren't able to find wins drag on, which I think is the same thing. You have to find a way to stop the bleeding quick. Now, Elliot Friedman says in 31 Thoughts, it's number one. This for him is a major outburst.
Oh yeah.
If that doesn't shake Daryl Cates to the foundations of Rogers Place or Rogers Arena or whatever the hell it is, the Rogers thing.
Roger.
Arena. Yeah.
Arena.
I don't know what will.
It's worse than it would have been better if he yelled. He was laughing. It was laughable that the Oilers even had a shot at the playoffs to him.
Is it weird of me to say, and this is my prediction right now, the Oilers have 12 months. The clock starts yesterday. The Oilers have 12 months to figure this out. If there's not an improvement in 12 months in terms of, and I don't even think
No, playoffs.
You think playoffs? It has to be playoffs.
Fucking improvement. It's got to be the playoffs. If you miss, you failed.
Okay, fine. Oilers don't make the playoffs next year. Connor McDavid's asking for a trade out.
Yeah, dude. Here
and to follow that up before you get to that.
Sure.
Connor McDavid deserves the Mark Messier Trophy this year. I don't care. I don't care if you are a sports writer and you listen to this show. Hear me out. And I've been saying this for months. This guy is the best leader in the National Hockey League this season. Nobody's been put through more, and nobody has handled it better.
You know who's going to get it? You know who's going to get it just to be dicks? Anders Lee.
Oh. It'll be hilarious. Anders Lee's contract's expiring.
Ooh. Well, didn't get any picks for him. No, he's a great player.
They'll keep him. They'll keep him.
So the Oilers tweet, Captain Connor has scored 27 points in 14 games in March. Jonathan Willis says, Edmonton's record in those games, 7-5-2. A wild card pace. When the franchise center gifted to them on a silver platter is scoring 2 points per game and everyone is healthy, this Oilers team is just barely good enough to play at a playoff pace. Dude.
What do you do?
They're not...
What do you even do, though?
Literally make 3 or 4 good decisions over the
How,
summer.
though?
Like I'm not even saying
Steve,
what you need to address. Okay, they need to improve a little bit on defense. They gotta unfuck their goaltending situation. What were you thinking with Mikko Koskinen?
Yeah.
What were you thinking? What were you thinking giving Peter Chiarelli that kind of power? What were you thinking doing it autonomously from him, whether it was your own decision? What were you thinking? What did you give him that contract based on? What were you thinking? They got to unfuck their goaltending situation. It'd be nice to improve their defense. I think if they just get a save every now and then, it will at least be adequate enough. The Oilers, what makes the Oilers special is they have Connor McDavid. And behind him, they have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Leon Draisaitl. Holy shit, what a foundation. Get a few good wingers and an adequate center.
No, you need to make those 3 guys play 1, 2, 3 down the middle.
You do.
Yes,
You need
I
a coach
agree.
who's got the stones to say that.
You need
I
to
agree.
stop putting Draisaitl on McDavid's wing.
I agree,
That's
but they got
ridiculous.
no one. They got no one up
go
to
get
win.
those guys.
Right. So they got to do that.
Call the Leafs. Get Connor Brown. He's $2 million.
Should have got Josh Levo.
Should have got Josh Levo.
Should 100% for Dick.
For
For
nothing.
nothing. Oilers should have given up a second. It would have been worth it. Seriously, it would have been worth it. They might even be in the playoffs.
Josh Levo would have 30 goals.
Him and McDavid.
He would. He's got a great shot.
Like,
He's been great in Vancouver, too. He's been very, very good.
He scored his first game when he was there.
look
Yeah.
at the
Of
final
course he
wild
did.
card in the West. No one wants it. No one wants it. Hey, Josh. Like, okay, Josh, I don't think has any desire to leave Vancouver. Look who he's playing with, right? So look at who he would have been playing with at Edmonton. Hey, dude, he would have been top line. They had Cassian there. Ah! So goaltending needs to be figured out fast. But apart from that, the defense, I think you need to draft that problem away. There's no quick fix there. Maybe sign someone cheap who's hopefully good. What makes you special is that 3-headed monster you have up front. Focus on what makes you special, add to the defense, and get rid of the fucking fat. There's so many bad contracts on that team.
You have you had a GM that almost had a deal in place to trade Lucic. We were about a second away from him being traded last year. It didn't happen because they thought they could salvage that. Now we know it can't be salvaged and nobody's got interest. Chris Russell, unless you're of the old school, it's dead wood back there.
Yeah. There's another guy who could probably play a regular NHL shift and be fine, but he's making too much friggin' money.
Yeah.
He's your Zaitsev.
And then beyond that, like, let's go further here.
Yeah.
This is a team that doesn't employ any sort of analytics department.
Doesn't listen to shit.
So how do you expect, like you said, 4 good moves this summer. How can they make one? How?
They can't.
How can they make one? How can you trust the same people who picked Peter Chiarelli, who picked Todd McClellan, who before Peter Chiarelli and before they got Connor McDavid, we're going to go with Craig McTavish as the GM? Again.
Daryl Cates needs to take off his jersey, remind himself what he is to this team. He's not some fan anymore. He's the owner. He's a grown man. He's got to do grown man things. Fire all of the players that you grew up cheering for. They're not doing shit. Stop. And I know it's the equivalent of asking me to fire Felix Potvin, Wendell Clark, Doug Gilmour, and Dave Anderchuk.
And James Reimer.
But if the Leafs
Who
were
I
going to
grew up cheering for, even though I'm older than him by 3 days.
But if the Leafs were going to win, all of those players would gladly accept it.
Yeah.
Bring in someone, you know what? Brendan Shanahan has opened my eyes to, we talk about former players not knowing what they're talking about. That's not totally fair because look at what Brendan Shanahan is.
Some former players.
Someone like him needs to be brought in by Edmonton who doesn't give a shit. Doesn't give a shit about hurting feelings or anything. Their draft record is atrocious. They can't bring free agents in. Their cap management is atrocious. Every decision they make is a bad idea. And they've done nothing.
So here's my question to you. The clock started April 1st, 2019. By April 1st, 2020, they're going to be in this same position unless literally everything changed. And if you look at the Leafs and the way they turned it around, and I use the Leafs because obviously we're huge fans, but let's also look at the fact that the Leafs had a very fast turnaround. Around real quick. They'd been bad for a while, but so have the Oilers.
But once they started the rebuild, it was only like 3 years.
Yeah, and the Oilers are much further ahead than the Leafs would have been.
I feel like the Oilers and Sabres are now officially the outliers because rebuilds happen fast now.
In the NHL because there's so much parity.
Yes.
So you can just turn it around easily.
And couple good players.
We need to give the Sabres more shit. I can't believe how bad they are.
No, exactly. And I don't know how Phil Housley cannot be the coach there next year.
Oh my God.
But from what I've heard, Jack Eichel is the guy that kind of calls the shots around there, and that needs to change too.
I'm slowly starting to change my mind on Jeff Skinner saying there. Why would he? Jesus,
why?
The team's so bad. Anyway.
But beyond that, I look at this situation and I go, yeah, okay, sure. They have to do is get 4 things right. Well, getting one thing right in the NHL is hard. They're not going to get 4 things in a row right.
Right.
They won't. So next year, 12 months is not enough time to turn this ship around. Quite frankly, it's just not. And you think, okay, yeah, fine, they get a good goaltender or whatever, and they squeak in. I don't think that's going to be enough for Connor McDavid.
Connor McDavid, if he really wanted to, goes, you have till July 5th. You have till July 5th to impress me, and if you don't, I'm gone.
This year?
Yeah, dude, it's a young man's league. He's making all this money. He's scoring. Look at Connor McDavid's numbers. All his full seasons start with a 1. Over 100, over 100, over 100. All he does is best himself. And he's the standard.
Adam, you said getting 4 things right.
That's what Steve said.
Yeah, I just threw it out there.
Both. Can I throw something else out?
Sure, please.
Can I make the argument that the 4 worst contracts on the Edmonton Oilers all have no movement clauses?
Go through them.
Milan Lucic.
Yep. Awful.
$6 million till 2023, no movement clause.
Terrible. Awful.
Andre Sekera, 5.5, 32 till 2021.
Is at least a good NHL player, but often gets hurt.
Yeah. When he signed that deal, he was it was much. It was a lot. But he still was a good player.
Maybe the one thing you could chalk up to bad luck. No, maybe Yeah,
he might.
that's tough.
He might be an LTIR guy.
2 more. Chris Russell, no movement clause.
Hey, you know
$4
what?
million till 2021.
The
31
Oilers
years old.
saved the Leafs from that deal, by the way.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Last no movement clause, Mikko Koskinen.
Oh,
He got a
my
no move.
God!
The form.
So
no
he had to
movements.
take a discount so he could get his no move clause. How did Mikko Koskinen get a no move? I didn't know that.
They're so stupid. Stupid hockey team. What else do you call them? Oh, that's so. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Oh my God!
You know what you do? You buy him out. You just buy him out.
He's waivers exempt, so
You just buy him out. Buy him out this offseason.
Adam might be right.
You just buy him out. Eat
Adam
it.
might be right.
Just eat it. And what would your hit be? $1.3 million over, what is it? Is it a 4-year or 3-year?
it's till 2022.
Has any
So it's 4
contract
years.
ever been bought
3
out
more,
before
yeah.
it kicked in?
I don't think so. But I
hasn't
would
kicked
buy him
in.
out.
It
So
hasn't-
you have to
doesn't
pay him
kick
for the
in.
next 6 years. But it's better to pay him $1.3 million a year for the next 6 years. Because it's a third, right? Or would it be 2/3 of the contract?
Oh my God!
Because he's
going
to lose a third of it.
I don't even know.
Or you say to him,
shit.
listen. Listen, he's not going to accept a mutual termination. There's just no way that's going to happen.
No, and no one in the KHL is going to give him that kind of money.
No, so he's going to say, give me my money. So he get paid 2/3 of that for the next 6 years because it's double.
Something like that.
Yeah, buy him out.
Oh
Buy
my
him out. You
God.
have to buy him out.
Oh my God!
Now I'm not sure. Is that based on service time or age?
I don't know.
Because I think
it might be 1/3, dude.
If it's 1/3, then what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Then it's like $1 million. It's $1 million.
You might have to just give him a season. Do you have a season to give him?
No, you
At
do not have a season to
4.5?
give him.
No.
But you have to have an alternative.
Yeah.
Like you do have to figure out who's available. Who can you go get?
You give Curtis McElhinney too much money. I'm
You're
serious.
fucking
I'm
crazy.
dead serious. I'm so serious. You give McElhinney too much
You're
money.
going to give Curtis McElhinney. Man, what a story. What
Imagine.
a story.
Imagine.
And everybody would be like, see, Kyle Dubas, you're stupid. You're real stupid. You signed Tavares, but you lost McElhinney.
For some reason.
How dare you?
And also, Dubas would never drink that good sarsaparilla.
But that's what people would completely forget that John Tavares was signed as a free agent, had the best free agent signing season of all time, the best center Leafs goal scorer ever. But people would be like, he did lose McElhinney.
Well, and they can't even there's a reason the Leafs are able to get the Tyler Ennises. You might look at the Oilers and go, well, how come they never pulled that off?
Tyler Ennis didn't want to go there.
Well, yeah, Tyler Ennis came to the Leafs in part because it was attractive to come here. There's no reason to go to
Why was it
Edmonton.
attractive?
The medical staff,
Bingo.
culture of winning, or at least things are on the way up.
Stop at the medical staff. Because when he signed, he showed up on July 5th to start working with the Leafs medical staff. Did
Yep.
you know that? Okay, so
I believe you.
July 5th to work on his shit, which he's been great this year except for a broken ankle.
That wasn't. I think it was
just
his
happens.
own teammate's shot.
Yeah, shit happens.
Yeah.
But the Edmonton Oilers are talking about giving up on Jesse Puljujarvi when he has double hip surgery to have. And
Cleft bomb.
And cleft bomb in his shoulder. Why would Tyler Ennis ever sign there? League minimum Tyler Ennis will not sign in your place because it's not safe. That's not safe. That's not good for the length of his career.
No, okay. So you know what? McDavid is now the owner of the Edmonton Oilers. That's how this works. Trust me. He should say you have till July 5th. You have until the 5th of July to impress me, or I'm out.
But at the 5th
I'm out. I don't show up to camp.
By the
I
5th
don't
of July,
play.
Steve, everybody's got the roster set. Who could accommodate that deal?
Oh, dude,
Well,
if people
would
get
go
a
down.
sniff that Connor McDavid might be available.
I think the Leafs would go right after
Can you
him.
imagine with all these RFAs, all this shit popping off, if McDavid...
The Leafs would go after McDavid. The Leafs would absolutely go after him.
Everyone would go after
And the
McDavid.
Leafs would be
He'd have
able-
31 suitors, including the Oilers.
You call the Leafs, or you call the Oilers, and you say we'll give you Janssen, Kapanen, and Nylander. Done.
That's not even close to enough. It's
You don't
not
think that's
even
enough?
And
Jesus
6
Christ, not even
first-round
close.
picks.
And
Yeah.
60
not even-
million first-round picks.
I love all three of those
Yeah.
players with all my heart.
It would be.
What would
if
that-
you
It would be
doubled
Marner.
If you doubled it, it wouldn't be enough.
No.
If you cloned all three of them, it wouldn't be enough.
Make a deal.
It's Connor McDavid.
Steve,
Make a deal.
What's the deal for Connor
I
McDavid?
couldn't possibly. It
Marner.
starts with Mitch Marner. Yeah.
Frederick Anderson.
No way. You can't give up Freddie.
Then you're getting even.
Yeah.
It's Connor McDavid.
Yeah, but who's going to play goal for the Leafs?
It doesn't matter. You have Connor McDavid.
Ooh.
Whatever.
Ooh, I don't know if I like
You're
that.
giving
Okay, which goes back to my plan of re-sign Curtis McElhinney to too much money. No,
So the Leafs signed Curtis McElhinney to too much
You're
money.
taking Koskinen
God.
with McDavid. You're giving up Anderson. You're giving up Mitch Marner. You're giving up 2 first-round picks. Deal.
I'll give up 2 first-round picks. I won't give up Anderson.
Then you're not having
And I
Connor
can't
McDavid.
give up Marner. So what else can I give
Connor
up?
McDavid.
No, that's it. It's
Marner,
I'm
Marner
saying no.
Anderson 2 firsts might get it done.
Yeah.
Marner Anderson 2 firsts, you don't hang up the phone right away.
That might be worth it.
Holy shit.
It might be.
Because even so, you've still got Kadri, right? So you can put... You could put McDavid
this is
on
so dumb.
Tavares' wing.
I don't hate it.
Listen,
I don't hate the Marner 2 first rounds and Anderson.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it either.
I didn't
You can
start
find
this
somebody to play
You
conversation.
could ship Mitch Marner's dad to Edmonton.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't start
And
this
his
conversation. I would love Mitch Marner with all my heart. I want him to be a Leaf forever.
I fucking love Mitch Marner.
I didn't start this conversation to trade anybody or to have McDavid come to the
No,
Leafs.
we're joking.
What I'm merely saying is, what is it like? If we're talking about strength, you know, it's almost like Daryl Cates is the guy in the suit from The Dark Knight Rises. I'm in charge here, and McDavid just puts his hand on his face and goes, "Do you feel in charge?"
Yeah.
He's Connor McDavid.
He is the captain
he's
now.
Bane. Yes, he's the captain now. 100%. It is unfortunate that it rests on this young man's shoulders. It does. It does. It is up to him to be like, fix your shit or I'm gone.
He'll be, my guess, we'll start to hear Connor McDavid trade rumors by March next year.
I don't
gonna
think
fit.
it'll take
Not
that
March.
long.
Well, February.
I don't think it'll take that long.
I think they luck out. I think they have a
No.
bad good year.
Jesse's
think-
almost there. Almost there. What'd you
they-
miss? Oh, you missed something.
They have a bad
What?
good year enough to confirm their bad suspicions about hockey, and then they make shitty moves again.
What did I miss?
They win the draft lottery.
This year?
The
Oh, no.
Edmonton Oilers will win
No.
the 2019
You're wrong.
draft lottery.
No, but
They
here's
will
the thing.
pick
You're wrong.
first
That's-
overall.
No,
They will pick first
the
overall.
Senators are going to win.
Nope.
And the Colorado Avalanche
I
will
don't
pick first
wish
overall.
that. No, I
Sorry,
don't wish
that's the
that.
way it has to go.
Edmonton Oilers will select Jack Hughes first overall. Wait, no, I'm sorry. They will get the first overall pick. They will pick some guy we've never heard of.
Can we make a bet?
Yes.
If Edmonton gets first overall pick, something happens to Adam. If
Oh,
Ottawa gets first overall pick, something happens
because
to Steve.
I know it. I feel it in here. It's going to happen.
Okay, so
I know that
what
it's
are you
going
putting
to
on the
happen.
line?
what's at stake?
I don't know what could be at stake.
I want something on the line here.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it could be.
I get your car. No.
You'd be too afraid to drive it.
Yeah, you're right. He's right.
I don't think I could drive this in the
We got to figure this out and come back to the next show with it.
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And listen, we're
And,
open to
and if
suggestions.
neither of them get it, then nothing happens.
We're open to suggestions.
Okay.
I am not interested in eating a pepper again.
No, I don't think
we
you
did
need
that.
to. We've done that. We've been there.
We'll
done
do
that.
something else on a live stream. Because I like the live stream.
Hey,
It's fun.
anyone coming to the Oshawa sighting tomorrow? Let me know when you see
Yeah,
me.
let's have some fun with this.
yeah.
The Edmonton
and-
Oilers will pick first overall.
And you know, sometimes bets like this don't need to be gross. Like the pepper thing was gross.
that was gross.
Sometimes it just has to be painful to your pride. So what would be painful to our pride? That's
that's
my
fun.
challenge to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Those are the best bets. They really are.
Yeah. Something fun.
I leave it in your hands because our listeners are the best for this.
Who will win the jack off? Jack Hughes.
That was the other one.
No, it's Jack off.
Jack off. We already did the jack off. We already jacked off.
The Mick Jackoff.
The other guy's Capo Caco. That's all.
It's time for us to finish. It's unfortunate we didn't get to other stuff.
Now I
but-
got ice serving.
Yeah, but Steve, have the best time on ice surfing, and we'll be back
I
Thursday.
asked for press conference questions on Twitter, and I got over 100 responses. And
Do we
we're
have
going to
any
get to 0 of them.
It's 4:30. Do we have any time?
Quick.
We can always save them for the next show, which will be in 2 days.
Nah, shut up.
All right.
Do you want to save them, or do you want to
No,
be late for ice
no.
cream?
Let's do 3.
3? Oh, God.
Oh, I'm not going to be late.
One question will take Steve.
The last episode. What are they going to do? Fire me?
This is
No,
like
okay.
asking Steve to sign a book in less than 10 minutes.
Listen.
That's why it seemed like the lineups were huge.
Yeah,
You
here's
can't
a
write your
3-hour
signature.
line. There were 20 people.
Here's a quick question you can answer from Simon. Do we need a Costco membership to get into Steve's book signing in Mississauga?
All of the signings at Costco's, yes, you need a Costco membership.
There you go. Are you going to shout out Petrushyn for beating Bure's rookie points record? Just did it. That's from Will Malone.
Will, I did not know that, actually. And I'm ashamed that I didn't know it.
Do you guys think Coach Q is going to be a downtown condo guy or a house close to the MasterCard guy? He's Victor Bringer of Hain is insinuating that Coach Q might come to Toronto after Babcock gets fired.
Okay. Ooh. The MasterCard.
Is he going to have a condo downtown or a place next to MasterCard?
No, you know
Is he
what?
going to be right in the core
You know
or
what?
by the practice facility?
You know, if Coach Q wants to have a good time, him and Babs are friends, are they not? Him, Babs,
yeah.
and Julian.
Oh.
So if Coach Q wants to have a good old time, imagine Babs, Q, and Sheldon Keefe behind the bench next year.
It will never, ever, ever happen.
The Leafs can
and
pay for
I
it.
am fully here for it.
The Leafs can pay for
This
it.
is from Chris McCurdy. Tell Steve his dad's band is heavy as hell. Hashtag Atomic Bomb.
Atomic Tomb.
Tomb, sorry.
Yeah.
Just really quickly.
my
Matt
dad's band.
Curry says, is the book tour going to make a stop in Saskatchewan?
Again, so I can't commit to anything outside of Ontario until, hockey's done.
This is from Alex Bean. Is beating the Bruins in round one the only thing that will give Leafs fans their mojo back? Adam and Steve.
Leafs
Yes.
fans got mojo, man.
No,
I think
no,
after last night, I feel a
Wrong.
lot better
Nope.
about myself.
That's great. You won't when they lose to Boston.
They won't lose to Boston!
So, yes, that is the only thing where the Leafs
Yes.
get the swagger back that they had last year.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, they got to slay the dragon.
This is from Peyton. What qualifies as a Gucci breakfast?
Yeet.
That's a good answer. Final question.
Shredded yeet.
Final two questions. This is from Henry Scamehorn. Are you Rose in? Are you in? Except Rose
Yeah, I
in?
get it. I like it.
Are
I
you-
like it.
I like. Are
I'll
you,
give it to you.
Yeah.
I'm Rose in.
Are you
Especially
Rose
because
in?
it's that time of year. Rose is going to start to grow, man. I'm just saying. Listen, I'm trying to loop spring in. Can you just let me reach?
Callie was already.
Let
up
me
there.
reach.
Anyways, the final question.
He got the Callie.
This from Nicholas Egan. Egan, maybe. Stanley Cup's predictions for April.
Oh.
Mine are Tampa, Calgary. Tampa wins. Picking two top teams.
I know, it's hard. Vegas?
Stop
You're insane. And you're not
Back-to-back
insane. That's
seasons.
not even insane.
Washington.
Vegas, Washington.
Rematch.
Again?
Oh, but now, let me just hold up on that. Michael Kempney will be out for 6 months.
it. Oh,
Are
no.
you sure you still want to go with Washington?
Yes,
Okay. Well, that's the wrong answer.
I know. Yeet.
St. Louis Blues,
Oh, this is your prediction. I
who
was
are
like,
now
what happened?
second in their division
Interesting.
Oh.
and on Fuegs.
Mm-hmm.
They are challenging Winnipeg. They are 2 points out
Yeah.
of winning the Central.
Sometimes the hot team.
Didn't they
just
lose a
stays
coach
hot.
this year?
They lost to
Didn't
coach
Mike Yeo get fired in the first 10 games?
They were last place in the league, January 3rd.
Tarasenko was almost not a St. Louis Blue.
Petrangelo, Parayko. Jordan, they got the goalie from the Owen Sound attack.
Oh, gosh.
And just...
and they
Holy shit.
unfortunately will lose in 4 games to the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's right. That's right. That's right. It's going to happen. And you know where I'll be? In the hospital.
Yeah.
Because my kids due around that time. So apparently when I was due, my mom's doctor, I put my mom through 26 hours of labor.
Yeah.
My mom's doctor walked into the room and he said, okay, well, he's checking the dilation or whatever. And he's like, well, it's going to be a few hours. So I'm going to go watch the Leafs playoff game. And I'll be back after it's done, and we'll get going with this. And then after the game, it started to really pick up, and I was born at 1:30 in the morning or 1:28 or something.
Did they win?
88? Doubtful.
What happens first? Steve gets 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, or Adam has a child?
I'm gonna go with Steve.
Oh, I hope me.
You're not there yet.
How close are you?
Neither are they.
You're 98,
Neither are they.
98,300.
355.
Ooh. It's
I
tough to
don't-
get.
I think-
YouTube subscribers are the hardest thing to get.
They're very hard. They're very difficult.
I think I might take Adam.
I would hope by June.
Hey, if you haven't subbed to Steve's channel yet, what are you waiting for?
Also, sub to our channel.
Watch, Adam's going to be like, she's in labor. I'm going to be like, no!
Hold on! I'm making 2 fake accounts.
He makes a bunch of Islander fantasy accounts. Screw Tavares! We don't need you.
Yeet!
Hey, we'll see you next time.
Yeet!
Thursday. Which is the 4th day of the yeet.
What?
The week. No? Sorry.
Adam got caught up in the yeet of the moment.
Hey.
Stop it! The show was over.
Wait, hold on. One more. When Mike Babcock puts Rosen on the ice, does he say, I'm going, back to Cali? No? Biggie? That's a Biggie song. Nobody? Yeah. All right, fine.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.